this bad boy opened up. And try to bring our first guest up momentarily. Hey, thanks, Casey. Okay. Get that done. Go there. All right. So if you are in the guest queue or thinking about requesting, make sure that you're an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Hey, Rob, how old are you?
42.
All right. Which God do you believe in?
I believe in the creator of all universe, that God.
Yeah, there's lots of different versions of God that are the creator of the whole universe, so I just need you to be more specific and tell me which one you believe in.
I'm only aware of one. I didn't know there were more, so I don't know what other ones are there.
You're not aware that different people believe in different religions and different non religious versions of God?
I didn't know that people had different creators of the universe. I thought that we all believed in what I mean. Those who believe in who are theists anyway, I believe they all believed in
No, that's
like for
obviously
example.
not true. You obviously know that the Christians don't believe in the same God that the Muslims believe in, who don't believe in the
Oh,
same God that the Hindus believe in, who don't believe in
oh,
the
I do
same God
actually.
that, the Mormons believe in. Like they're all different. So, for the last time,
Oh, okay.
what God do you believe in, you fucking moron?
Wow, you're very
Yeah, you're
uh,
really, really fucking frustrating. This is the simplest possible question that a believer in God could possibly be asked, and you're acting like I'm
yeah.
trying to get you to solve some like a PhD level calculus problem.
All right.
So, for the
Hey,
last time, what God do you believe in?
so there was just
All
it's
right,
okay.
fair enough. So obviously you're not someone worth having a conversation with. All right. If you can't tell me what God you believe in, I'm just not going to talk to you, right? I mean, we're not playing those games. All right. So, as I said before, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Okay. Okay.
Hello,
Charlotte, how old are you?
I'm 20.
You still Muslim?
No.
Oh, what religion do you believe in this time?
Wait, was I originally Muslim?
Last time you were up here, yep.
How do you log that? That's crazy.
I know, it's so crazy that I pay attention to what people say to me. So, what religion do you believe in this time?
Uh, yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, so you were just lying Christian last time?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. And what is the best argument or evidence for God?
Yeah, I would say that we could take like a given conceptual model, and embed some sort of neo-Kleinian meta-ontology.
Okay, well, I'm not
Maybe.
going to do any of that. So, if you can't explain it in normal people language that doesn't require, a philosophical education, then I'm just going to move on. So, what's the best argument or evidence for God?
Yeah, I'm running like a version of the fine-tuning argument.
Okay, give it in normal language, or I'm just going to move on.
Okay, would you say that there's
You should not be
a
asking me questions right now. You should be presenting your argument in normal language, like just natural, everyday, normal people language. Give the argument.
okay. Yeah, so I think that there's I guess a higher posterior probability.
So again, you're just using normal, everyday language. We're not talking about prior probabilities. We're not talking about posterior probabilities. We're not talking about jargon. You're just giving the argument in normal, everyday language. If you aren't
Yeah,
capable of
it's
doing that, then I'm not going to talk to you.
yeah, it's more likely that given like um a theistic worldview that life permitting conditions would exist as opposed to a naturalistic worldview. Is that simple enough?
What's the support for that claim?
Yeah, I'll be using Bayes' theorem. That's the support. And I was trying to run it. You kind of
So
just
can
didn't
you
want to.
give the support? Can you present the argument or evidence that supports the claim or no?
Yeah, so if we were to take a given conceptual model, the data would favor the
Yeah, we're not
theistic
talking about conceptual models. We're asking about how you can support the claim that life permitting constants are more likely under theism than naturalism.
Yeah. So, do you want like the formal argument for it, or
I want you to support the claim.
which would imply that you want an argument for it? So,
I asked you for an argument or evidence that supports the claim.
I was
This is not
giving the
difficult.
argument. And if you needed like further extrapolation,
So I don't
on
need
what,
any more
like,
meta.
these
Just
mean-
give the support for the claim.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I know it's so difficult to have these conversations where people actually make you stick to the substance, isn't it?
I was trying to get to substance.
No, you're not. You're doing it again right now.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Do you accept like?
You're still
syllogism?
doing it. You're still doing it. Just give the support for the claim.
Okay, damn.
You're still
Damn.
doing it.
So the conditional, if trivialism is true.
No, we're not talking about trivialism. So what's the support for the claim that life permitting constants are more likely under theism than naturalism?
Well, I'm giving it though. Well, I was giving it before you.
You're doing the meta thing again? So just answer the question.
Yeah. Would you take?
You're
for
asking a
example,
question, which is again not supporting your claim. So for the last time, I'm going to ask you one more time. If your response is anything other than the actual substantive support for your claim, then we're all going to know the reason you're not supporting the claim is because you know you can't. So for the last time, what is the substantive support for the claim that finely tuned constants that support life are more likely under theism than naturalism?
Yes, I would say that, like, let's take the constant for gravity, for example. If it were increments off or like a hair off, we would see that there would be a complete destruction of life.
How does
which
this
would
respond to my
imply-
question?
Yeah, I was trying to get to
How does
that
this
was
respond to my question?
I was giving
How does this respond to my question?
Because you asked how are life permitting conditions more expected under theism than naturalism, and then I was going to further elaborate.
Nope, you were just
on why
talking
that-
about what it would do if gravity was different.
Yeah,
That doesn't tell me why it's expected under theism. So for the last time, what is the reason why I should think that life permitting constants are okay? If you can't stay on topic and you can't stop bitching and crying, then I'm just going to move on. So again, for the last time, what is the support for the claim?
Yes. I was giving.
Oh, yo, so you just want to do
concept.
meta? Cool. Then
I-
thank
I
you for
was-
the concession. Yeah. Never once will Phil Bros like that ever support their claim. Hey, fuck yeah. Just so you know, begging in the chat to come get brought up means that you are going to get skipped. Just so you're aware. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. I completely agree with you that I have, whoever that was that bitched about me talking about Phil Bros, clunky. I agree with you that my topic is philosophical, and I agree that we're going to have philosophical conversations here. But it's entirely possible to have philosophical conversations without being a Phil Bro, right? Yeah. Those are different things. Oh, damn, Tarnished, you were actually going to be next if you hadn't been a little whiny bitch in the comments. So we'll bring up Andreas. Hi, Andreas. How old are you?
23.
And which God do you believe in?
The God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Okay, so you're Jewish?
No.
Well, then why
Jewish
won't you just
is-
tell me? Why won't you just tell me what God you believe in instead of giving this bullshit, run around answer? Just tell me what God you believe in.
God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I just told you.
Cool. So you're Jewish.
No.
Okay.
Who
Well,
is
then
Jewish?
fuck you and
What are
don't
the
come
Jewish
back.
people?
The Jewish people are the ones who believe in the Abrahamic God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah. Weird. But the funny thing is that Christians also say that they believe in that God, and the Muslims also say they believe in that God. So it's not clear what God you believe in when you give an answer like that. And if you knew anything about anything, you would know that. And the fact that you can't just answer the question unambiguously means you're not worth talking to. Here we go. All right. So of the 3 people I brought up, 2 have not been able to say what God they believe in. Hey, thanks, Poppy Loco. Why is this? Okay, whatever. Thanks everybody for the support. KC, Alan Gibson, Broken Tree Branch, Bradley N. Appreciate you all so much. The Ginger Ninja, you as well, Molly Ringworm, Zell, Bradley Cooper, both sides, Slice, KL Gizmo. Oh, supporting Charlotte. Cool. That's weird, but sure, why not? WB, thank you. Poppy Loco, Molly Ringworm, WB, thank you again. Mikey, 24 Carat, and Poppy Loco. Colette, thank you so much. Neb, glad to see you all here. Appreciate the support sincerely. All right. So once again, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Just like everybody else, Samson Radio, if you beg to get brought up in the chat, you will get skipped. Okay, let me check. Okay, fair enough. Oh, here we go. Hi, King. How old are you?
I'm 27. Can you hear me?
I can. What God do you believe in?
I'm a follower of Christ.
All right. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide a reason to believe in a God?
All right, so I'm going to attack your God isn't real claim from a perspective of experience. So in day-to-day life experience, everything we experience, like the microphone you're using, TikTok, internet, the car you drive, the house you live in, the job you work at, all points to some type of intelligent mind, like structure.
How so?
Because there's a mind behind it.
That's just a claim? How does it point to that?
What do you mean, how does it point to that?
You're claiming that although, hold on, I'm explaining, let me answer the question. There's no point in, there's no, Meech, yeah, no, stop. There's no point in you asking me a question and then refusing to let me answer it. So if you're going to ask me a question, you got to let me answer it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And you asked me why I'm requesting that you give support for your claim. What I'm saying is your claim that you made. Okay, what was the question you asked me?
No, let me answer.
No, what was the question that you asked me?
You said
clarify the question that you asked me.
I said I was going to attack your
What was the question that you asked me after you said all that nonsense about there needing to be a mind? Because my memory.
No, I didn't say.
Yeah, you asked me a question.
Nothing I said was nonsense. Everything.
Yes, it was nonsense. What you're claiming. You're claiming that there is a mind behind all of these things that you pointed to. I asked for the justification for that claim, and you didn't give it.
The justification is somebody made that microphone you're using.
And what's the reason for me to think that there's a mind behind everything?
That microphone.
That wasn't your claim, Meech, that wasn't your claim. I don't give a fuck. That's not what your claim was. And I'm asking you to actually defend your claim.
You know what's up. That's crazy. You know
right.
what's up.
Yeah. So I'm asking you to actually defend the substance of your claim. Meech,
you believe in
Meech, I'm trying to get you to the actual substance, and you're talking about bullshit. Can you give me give me an opportunity? Just give me an opportunity to get us to the actual substance. What I'm asking you, your claim is that because there's a mind behind my car and my microphone and my computer, there's also a mind behind the universe. What is the justification for that claim?
Well, if you look at day-to-day life, even from the Earth perspective,
we already talked about the day-to-day life stuff, Meech. We already talked about the day-to-day life stuff. We already talked about the day-to-day life stuff. We already talked about the day-to-day life stuff. Meech, we already talked about the day-to-day life stuff. I don't need you to explain that again. What I need you to do is draw the connection between this microphone having someone who made it and the whole universe having someone who made it. What's the connection?
This world is so perfect for life that it is impossible for it to just happen out of thin air.
Yeah, what's the support for that claim? What's the support for that claim?
The support for that claim is that if our experiences, everything we experience always points to a mind
Yeah,
And
the
how
claim
can
is
you
that it
tell
points
me
to a
that?
mind,
How
Meech.
can you tell
Meech,
me?
the
No,
claim
no.
is that it
No,
points
no,
to
no,
a
no, no,
mind.
no.
I'm
Let me
asking for the
finish. You don't
support
let
for.
my thoughts.
That's because
you won't
Meech,
even, this is
Meech,
what you do.
because what you're doing
You
is you're
don't
not
let
responding to my
you don't let
question.
nobody you don't let
Meech,
nobody get their full thoughts
Meech,
out.
yeah, I
You
would
just
let you
cut them
talk
off,
if you were actually
and then you say
responding to
da
my
da da da
question.
da da da
So
da
if
da
you
da.
can't stay
You
on
just cut them
topic,
off, and
what's
you
going to
say
happen?
da da
Here's
da
what's
da
going to
da da
happen
da
every
da.
single time, Meech. Every
Bro,
single
I see
time that you
through
start
you.
talking and it's not
I
actually
see through
responsive
you.
to my
Every time I
question.
start speaking, you cut me
All
off.
right, fair enough. Because you don't want to actually have the conversation. I'll just try to find somebody who does. If when you start, this is true for Meech, and it's going to be true for everybody else. If when you start talking, it is not on topic, I'm going to interrupt you, and I'm going to do my best to drag you back to the topic. If you don't want to actually stay on task, if you don't want to stay on the substance of the conversation, then you're not going to have a good time. Okay? It's going to be really rough for you, and I'm going to interrupt you over and over again. You're exactly right, G2 Nelson. I have no patience for people going off topic. Zero. Not a single second am I going to waste listening to somebody run away from the substance of the conversation. It's never, ever going to happen. Okay? Are we all clear on that? It's never going to happen. Hey, thanks, Casey. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Couldn't stay on topic. I should also put couldn't stop whining. Couldn't stop crying about being brought back to the topic. Cool. All right. Oh, apparently semicolon didn't want to talk. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. My professor, how old are you?
Hey, I don't know, I forgot. I think I'm like 34, 35. I forgot. But yeah, I just got one question for you, G.
What God do you
Since you
believe
don't
in?
believe in God, right?
What God do you believe in?
I believe in, I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. Like,
What God? If
I
you
don't
can't
know
tell
what
me
to
what
believe
God
in
you believe in,
anymore.
I'm just moving on.
I don't know what to believe in anymore. But I
All
just
right,
got
well,
one
take care of
question.
yourself. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Maybe, Tarnished was begging to come up. Is he actually gonna? Are they actually gonna join? Well then, I tried to bring you up, Tarnished Unk. Maybe I wait a sec to see if they re-request. Thank you, everybody, for the support, sincerely. Thank you to Mr. Colby, Neurospicy Cat Lady, thank you so much, Infectious Bites, KC, Roll Dolph Lundgren, Hercules, 3 Pips. Appreciate you all very much. Thank you. It does not look like Tarnished is trying to come back. Okay, fair enough. Let me check one thing. Oop, God damn it. There we go. Really? Okay. All right. Hey, Pender, how old are you?
21.
And what God do you believe in?
I was born in a Christian family and I believe in the Christian God, but I recently became an atheist.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just talking to people who do believe in God.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, appreciate you. I hope you have a good one. Take care of yourself. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Roberto. How old are you?
45, old as hell.
Can you do anything about the background noise? Oh, maybe it's already off. Oh, no, I can still hear it.
It's a little TikTok thing. Hold up, I'm going to the.
Okay, what God do you believe in? What God do you believe in?
I believe the entire universe is God. Like I call it God body. Pretty
Okay.
much the whole black hole.
Sure. Well, I believe in the universe. I don't have any reason to think that it's a God. So what do we disagree
You
about?
don't have to. Like the whole thing. Like you can't ever prove.
Okay, well, this is an answer. Okay, what I'm trying to nail down right now, Roberto, is whether or not we disagree in a substantive way.
Hold up.
No, we're not doing hold up. We're not getting there. Either you're going to tell me right now what we actually disagree.
That I believe in. God.
I don't want you to go on a long length. Okay, all right. Well, I'm just going to move on to the next person because it doesn't sound like we have a substantive disagreement. We're just going to talk about what words mean, and that's not important to me. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God, in your God specifically. And make sure that the God you believe in actually is a God. Semicolon, how old are you?
Don't worry about it.
I have to worry about it. How old are you?
23.
Okay, and which God do you believe in?
I believe in Jesus Christ.
All right, and then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Well, could I ask you first, what do you think made the world become what it is?
I don't think that the world was made.
Do you think we just came into it just because?
I don't know what that. I don't understand the question.
Well, do you believe in the Big Bang Theory?
I think it's the best explanation we currently have for the expansion of the universe from a hot, dense state.
Well, how do you think that a swirling dot in the world could just create
what?
all of this perfectly?
What? I didn't understand the beginning of what you said. All I got was all this perfectly. I cannot hear you if you're off the app. Hello? Semicolon. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, Sonny, that was the best conversation so far. All right, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God.
Oh shit, my fault.
All right, sound like a child anyway. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Wyatt, how old are you?
Hey, I'm 30.
Okay, and what God do you believe in?
I believe in the Trinity, Christianity, Jesus Christ.
Okay, and then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide a reason to believe in a God?
Sure. The history of the Bible. So the history of the Bible teaches us that it reproves itself. So the Old Testament reproves the New Testament, and then also in ideology. So actually, scientifically, you're what you would call a Darwinism actually kind of disproves itself, but proves itself.
Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, and it sounds like you've got a few different things that you're looking to talk about. So I need you to just pick one and explain what it is and how it gets us to God.
So I said two things. So
okay, so pick one of them and then tell me how that gives us reason to believe in God.
Yeah. So for the first thing, when it comes to the Bible, the Old Testament predicts the New Testament. Okay.
Well, no, so hold on. If somebody wrote a book, like let's imagine that I wanted to make a sequel series to Lord of the Rings. Well, I already have those books, so it would be perfectly easy for me to just write a new story that is perfectly in line with all the stuff that happened in Lord of the Rings. That doesn't require any of the stuff in Lord of the Rings to be true, and it doesn't require any of the things that I write subsequently to be true. So why should I think that any of this has anything to do with the reality of God's existence?
That's a perfectly logical explanation, but But the Old Testament was written over 300 years before the New Testament.
I know, so they had
And-
lots
and-
of time to come up with the new
and-
stories. They had access to all of that stuff. That it's not surprising at all, and it's weird that you think it would be surprising at all that the stuff in the New Testament lines up with stories that they already had and were intentionally writing about. So again, what is the actual reason to believe in a God?
Oh, because a man came around multiple hundred years later, after the writing of the Old Testament, and it was written from different countries.
None of this matters
from
at all,
different-
Wyatt. I can write a story today about a guy who fulfills stuff in a book written 300 years ago, but that wouldn't have anything to do with whether the stuff in the 300-year-old book was true or whether the stuff that I wrote about the guy who exists now is true. All I care about is whether it's... Hold on, Wyatt.
I'm talking about the probability and
Wyatt.
odds of
Yeah,
that.
the odds of the stories lining up is 100% when you already have the old stories that you're writing based on. Obviously, it's going to line up. That's like being surprised when a new Spider-Man comic comes out and it's perfectly in line with the last Spider-Man comics. Were you surprised? Have you seen the new Spider-Man movie?
I haven't.
Okay, so if you go see it, hold on.
Do you know someone
Wyatt,
that's
calm
300
down,
years
Wyatt.
old?
Wyatt, if you go and see the new Spider-Man
know
movie,
someone that's
Wyatt,
300 years
I'm
old?
trying to ask you a question. If you go and see the new Spider-Man movie and it perfectly aligns with the stories from the previous Spider-Man movies and continues the story forward, will that be surprising to you?
No, because
Do you think
it's
that would
what-
require supernatural intervention to pull that off?
No, because it's
Okay,
within
perfect.
a realistic time frame.
It doesn't have anything to do with the time frame. It just has to do with access to the previous information. So because they have
Do you know
because
someone-
they have
do
the
you know
movies,
someone that's
because they
300
have
years old?
it doesn't matter. I know of books that are 300 years old that I could read and I could write like sequels to them.
Did that author? Do you know? Did that author predict something that you could do?
Okay, so let's imagine I'm Googling books that are
So-
300 years old. Oh, okay, so the book Gulliver's Travels is about 300 years old. It came out, apparently in 1726, so it's a 300-year-old book. So if I wrote a sequel to Gulliver's Travels and it perfectly lined up with all the stuff that happened in the
What
original
the fuck
book.
is Gulliver's Travels?
You've never heard of Gulliver's Travels? You didn't go to elementary school?
I've never heard of Gulliver's Travels.
Okay, well, it's the story of the Lilliputians, the really big guy, Gulliver, and then he wakes up one day and they've tied him down with ropes and stuff. It's all the little people that are like this tall. I don't know. Maybe you're not familiar with this. They made a movie with Jack Black and everything. Anyway, let's imagine that I take this 300-year-old book, Gulliver's Travels, and I write a new book now, 300 years later. Would it require supernatural intervention for my new sequel to line up perfectly with the stuff in the original book and for my characters to fulfill typological prophecies from the first book?
I'm saying that it predicts.
Would it require supernatural intervention
Yes,
for
it
my?
would. Yes, it would. It would.
Okay, well, I'm just going to take that as a reductio to your view. And
hold
do you
on,
have
before
anything
you
else?
Before you drop me, can I get my second argument?
No, because if you're that unserious, then you're clearly not worth talking to. If you think that me writing a sequel to a book requires supernatural intervention for the new story to line up with the old story, I just don't know what to tell you at that point. New Testament lining up with Old Testament. What a dumb argument. All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about... He was about to beat me? Zigified, he was trying to run away to a different argument when I dropped him. I dropped him because obviously it wasn't worth hearing his second argument if his first argument was that bad. Yeah, clearly the new Spider-Man movie had divine intervention because the plot follows from the previous movies. Good times. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, Z2, how old are you?
I'm 60 plus.
Okay, and then what God do you believe in?
I believe in the one that trusts in mankind that he created. And
okay, so I need you to actually tell me which version of God you believe in, not some like platitude about it. What God do you believe in?
I believe in the holy God, that doesn't
Okay, so
lie.
I don't know what God you believe in if you won't just tell me. And if you
Well, the
can't
one
tell
that
me what God you
oppose-
believe in, then I'm just going to move on. So for the
The one
last
that
time,
oppose
what
of the
God do you
devil.
believe in?
The one that oppose of the devil like you.
Okay, fair enough. Since you can't tell me, I'm just going to move on. I will not be playing those games. All right, if you are in the guest queue, or hey, Paul. Hey, glad to have you here. That's fucking awesome. If you're in the guest queue, and the thing about it, G.I. Joe, is that they don't even have to say a name of which God they believe in. They can say, oh, I don't believe in a religion's God. I believe in whatever, right? All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, Mo. How old are you?
What's up, buddy? 40.
Okay, I'm also 40. And what God do you believe in?
Allah.
Cool. Thank you for showing everybody how easy it is. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
The prophecies within the Quran.
How would the prophecies in the Quran give us a reason to believe in a God?
The author, as we believe and we're taught, the author would be the words of Allah that came where nobody at the time would have.
Yeah, I know that that's what you believe. I'm asking, what's the actual because first off, can you do anything about the background noise? It's quite a lot. You're actually a little bit hard to hear because of it.
I know, sorry. Is that better?
No. It sounds like you're like in the middle of a big mall where there's like a big
I'm at
event
the
going
grocery
on.
store. So let me call back. I guess I'll hit you back up when I'm better.
All right, I will. I look forward to talking to you again. Oh, we ended at the perfect time when the baby starts crying. The reason that I don't do widescreen currently, Paul, is that I don't have a way to do both widescreen and vertical, and vertical is more likely to be in the algorithm, so I just do vertical. But the goal is to eventually do both widescreen and vertical on YouTube. I know a lot of channels do that. I would like to do that myself, but I don't have the capacity for doing that right now. But anyway, yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in your God. Hi, Ethan. How old are you?
Hey, brother. I'm 35. How are you doing?
Doing just fine, thank you. And I assume you're a Christian?
Sure am, yeah.
Cool. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Wait, how'd you know I was Christian? My picture?
No, you said something in the comments about being in Bible college or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got my undergrad in biblical studies and my master's in Christian theology.
Okay, yeah. So what's the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in God?
For me, it's the fact that this one homeless person from, Nazareth, the middle of nowhere in the corner of the Roman Empire, transformed the entire rest of the world over the past 2,000 years.
How would that provide reason to believe in a God?
A couple things. I think that either he's a crazy homeless guy who's a lunatic claiming to be God.
Oh, you're just going to do lunatic, liar, or Lord?
I think it's a little bit more than that, because that would just be something he said, but the impact of it in history.
I don't really care. I mean, do you think that Eli Whitney must have been divine because of the impact the cotton gin had on industry?
No, but I mean.
Oh, but this one guy made one invention and it completely revolutionized the entire world. You don't think that you don't think that means he's divine? Because based on your criteria, he must have been.
No, I think most people who transform the world never claim to be God.
It doesn't matter. Lots of people claim to be God. Claiming to be God has nothing to do with whether or not we should think that they are God. And if your criteria for whether or not we should believe somebody has, any divinity to them is how much of an impact they had on the world, I would argue that Eli Whitney has had an enormous impact on the world, outsized impact, and that should qualify him if anybody is qualified.
Bigger than Jesus, you think?
Depends on the metric that you're using, but I would say arguably similar.
I think that would be a real tough hill to climb.
I don't really care, but my whole point here is that this criteria that you've given is ridiculous. we can obviously see lots of people who throughout history who've had a massive impact on reality or on our lives, on the way society developed. Socrates, for example, or Plato or Aristotle, right? I don't know if you know anything about like actual philosophy instead of just your, fucking Santa Claus club for grown-ups. But in actual philosophy, these are people whose way of thinking. I mean, Aristotle was so influential that Christianity literally changed. It became a different religion in response to Aristotle's philosophy. So the fact of the matter is that these people have completely changed. These people have completely changed the way that, yes, Aristotle predates Jesus, but in the medieval period, people got really, really into Aristotelian philosophy, and that's where you get a lot of the Christian theology from, because that was the period during which people were really, really into Christianity and spreading it and changing it, making adjustments to it. That's why many schools of Christian thought, schools of Christian thought, a lot of them go back to that medieval period, because that's when there was that renaissance of interest in ancient Greek philosophy. And so, yes, Aristotelian philosophy massively changed Christianity when Christians got a hold of it and became obsessed with it. Regardless, that doesn't make Aristotle divine, and certainly this criteria of, this guy had impact on the world is not enough to determine whether or not someone is divine or if a God exists. So I'll ask again, what is one reason to think that a God actually exists?
I don't think that you seriously addressed some of the points I made.
You didn't make a serious point yet. So once you make a serious point, I'll address it seriously.
What's your rebuttal to the liar, lord, or lunatic argument then? I'm curious.
I mean, it's perfectly reasonable to think that he's just a fictional character. There's no reason for us to think that he actually existed in reality. And even if there was a person on whom the stories were based, there's no reason for us to think that the things that happen in the story bear any significant resemblance to the life of the person that they were based on. These are all stories that are just written decades and decades after his supposed death by anonymous people. We have no reason to think that any of it actually has anything to do with anything that really happened. So whether or not a person actually existed that the stories were based on, we have literally no justification to think that the stories reflect anything true.
I think that, if you don't believe Jesus is a historical person who actually existed, I don't know if we would agree, if we could come to an agreement on that.
What's the justification to think that any quote attributed to Jesus in the Bible was actually said by the real historical person?
Wait, so you do think there was a real historical person?
Let's imagine that there was one. What's one quote from the New Testament, from the Gospels, that you can demonstrate was actually said by that real person?
If you're trying to
just one quote, please. One quote. One quote.
I think they all are.
So name the quote.
Any of them.
So yeah, give me the book, chapter, and verse of the quote that you're going to demonstrate. We can show came actually from the real person, and then give me that demonstration. So what's the quote first?
I'm not sure how you want me to demonstrate it.
Yeah, so give me, first thing that you're going to do is you're going to say a book, chapter and verse. That's the first thing that you're going to do. So what's the book, chapter, and verse for the quote you want to use?
All right, let's go simple one. John 3:16, for God so loved the world.
So that's a quote from Jesus?
Yeah. But see, then it's just your word against mine unless we get into the actual historicity of the gospel books themselves.
Hold on. Nope, I don't want that. I want this one. And we'll do one of these. We can just do this. Okay. Julie, what is past Justin? Okay. Julie was what? Oh, okay. All right, there we go. All right, fantastic. John 3:16. Wow, you know what? For some reason, for whatever reason, I did not realize that was a quote from Jesus. So I learned something today. Fantastic. Anyway, now that we have the quote from Jesus, now you're going to provide the demonstration that this was actually said in first century, Judea or wherever, by an actual person on whom the stories in the Gospels are based. What's the demonstration of that?
Yeah, I think that, this is why I didn't necessarily...
So what's the demonstration?
All the books about
So
Jesus,
what's the evidence that Jesus actually said this?
Okay, I'm trying to talk, and you keep...
Yeah, because as soon as you start talking, if it's not just giving the evidence, just giving me the demonstration that this was said by the real Jesus, I'm going to cut you off. So it's going to happen every single time. If you start talking and what you're saying isn't that demonstration, you're getting cut off.
Let me finish a sentence. I'm just gonna head out.
Yeah, I know you're going to leave. You want to run away because you don't want to actually stay on the substance.
No, I gave you a quote.
I haven't heard the
was said by
demonstration that he
Jesus.
actually said it.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's the demonstration he actually said it?
because it's written in a book that was written only a couple decades.
Oh,
after
really?
Jesus
Because it was
lived.
written in a book, he really said it.
See,
Well, cool.
this is why
Well,
it's
I read a
useless
book.
to talk to you.
Yeah. Oh, well, if just the fact that it was written in a book and attributed to a person is demonstration that that person actually said that thing. Well, I've got news for you. There's a whole bunch of quotes in the book Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Do you think Abraham Lincoln really said everything that book claims he said?
Okay, can I ask you a serious
That was a
question?
no. You can't ask a question because you're dodging the question I asked you. Do you think that all the quotes attributed to Abraham Lincoln? Do you think all the quotes attributed to Abraham Lincoln in the book Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter were actually said by the real Lincoln in history?
What would you consider?
That was a yes or no
evidence?
question, Ethan. Do you think that Abraham Lincoln really said those
Dog,
quotes?
What kind of evidence?
That
do
was
you
a
want?
yes or no
Put a
question. Do you
sentence
think
out.
Abraham actually said those things? Oh, yeah, exactly. I would run away, too, if I had made the stupid claims you made and then had somebody actually demanding that I back them up. All right. Yes, Eunice is shining this fucking light on me. I don't know what I need to do to, well, I just need to put up a different curtain or something over that fucking window. It's getting really annoying. King Diamond said grandma makes a good cup of tea. Boom. It's all proof. It's all real. Yes, Dagobah Dave. That's a theology degree for you. That guy went to college. That guy went to college for his religion, and that was the best he could do. Was to run away from supporting his claims. If that's what a college education gets you as a Christian, then I don't know what to fucking tell you. All right. Well, clearly, Catholic thinker, going to college for your religion isn't the determining factor on whether or not, you have anything of value to say. It was in a book, so it must be true. Yeah, he got the degree because the check's cashed. Hello.
Hey, yeah, I'm a friendly, just real quick thing. On John 3:16, that is kind of disputed based on the translation. I go back and forth with other atheists on this all the time. So you're not wrong for thinking it wasn't Jesus, right? I don't know what translation you use. I use NRSVUE. That is Jesus in that one. Some red letter Bibles have it in red, some don't.
Yeah, fair enough. I was looking at NRSVUE and I saw that it was listed as a quote from Jesus.
Yeah.
I certainly don't claim to be a biblical scholar or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong about stuff. I don't have a problem with that. I think that I
But I'm saying it's not even conclusive.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I happen to think it is. I happen to agree with the NRSV because it makes sense. Jesus talks about himself in the third person all the time. So I don't think that's like out of line or anything. But it is not definite across all translations. So
Sure.
there is ambiguity there. So anyway, yeah, I'm enjoying the show though. I'll follow you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate the clarification because, yeah, I'm not, again, I'm never going to claim to be a biblical expert. I mean, unless someday in the future I become a biblical expert, but that's certainly not the case now. So if I'm wrong about something in the Bible or anything, really, I mean, there was one time I said something stupid about Spinoza's God and Jaden was in the comments and corrected me. Fantastic. Definitely correct me. I'm happy to be shown that I'm wrong because that's an opportunity to learn. Anyway, I'll bring up the next person if you're in the... Oh, before I do that, I just want to say thank you very much to the people supporting. Thank you so much to... we've got Goblin Brain and Deb, World Greatest. Thank you so much. I saw that flute. That was fucking awesome. Thank you, Discordant Rhyme. Thank you to... Oh, my God. What is this? Not Real Timmy. I'll say that. Thank you very much. JJ, Decon Blue, Lem, Discordant Rhyme again. Appreciate you all so much, sincerely. Thank you as well, Sir Piffington, excuse me. Almost gave you the wrong title there. Oh my God, this light needs to stop. This is killing me. Okay. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about requesting, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. look up if we can bring in Baytree. Hi, Baytree. How old are you?
Hey, I'm 19.
All right. And what God do you believe in?
I believe in a Christian God.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
Yeah, so in Proverbs 16:9 it says Immanuel Kant goes on his knees and gives head to Schopenhauer. And,
Okay. Well, I'll check that out. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. All right. Hi, Rockin' Chicano. How old are you?
I'm in my 50s.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
Jehovah. Jesus. Jehovah.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
Well, it's not to argue, it's not to prove a point, but I think your problem is that you challenge man.
Okay, I don't really care what you think my problem is. I'm asking the reason to believe in a God.
Well, why don't you do what I did? Why don't you challenge him instead of challenge man on the internet?
So do you have any argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in God, or should I just move on?
Yeah, go ahead and go out there and do what I did. You know what I did?
All right. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. A Monty Python sketch. It's like how life feels sometimes. Hi, Zach. How old are you? R.I.P. Oliver Tree. Am I right? All right. So once again, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Hey, Timmy, how old are you?
Okay. I am not over 18, but please.
All right. So currently don't have anybody requesting. And just for clarity, I am not going to talk to children. Like, that's just not going to happen. And, you know, it doesn't matter how nicely you ask me, I'm not going to talk to children. How fucking weird would it be if I did? Like, regardless of TikTok terms of service. Like, that's fucking weird. Anyway. No, I do appreciate that, River. You're correct. I appreciate that he was honest, but obviously, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you roll Dolph Lundgren. That's a good one. Okay, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Nihilus, how old are you?
Schopenhauer gave that to.
Fair enough. You had it backwards there, though. I thought Kant gave head to Schopenhauer. Oh, was it a 69? Kant doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd be in a 69, but I mean, maybe I just get the wrong. I don't understand the vibe, or I'm getting the wrong vibe. Okay, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus. You have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, Bands. How old are you?
What's up, bro? I'm 25.
And what God do you believe in?
Can you see me?
No, and please don't turn your camera on.
Okay.
What God do you believe in?
I believe in Jesus.
Okay. And then you said you're 25?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
All right. It's so simple. I didn't believe in Jesus either, but I wanted to believe in something, but I didn't know what.
Well, I don't need to hear your story, Rar. I just want to hear the argument or evidence for God, please.
So all you have to do is say, if Jesus is the way, show me a sign that is true, and you will get unlimited signs and miracles, and like it happened to me, bro, and I've been fucking blessed.
Cool. Okay, hold on. It's if Jesus is the way, show me a sign. Is that it?
It's so simple. I wish I would have.
Is that the phrase?
Yeah. If Jesus is the way, God, Give me a sign that Jesus Christ is the way.
Okay.
I swear
all
to
right.
God, bro,
okay.
you're gonna fucking be
All right,
blessed.
let's do it. If Jesus is the way, God, please give me a sign that Jesus is the way.
Use your heart though. It's a frequency thing. That's what I've been learning. Like
You didn't notice me take a moment and calm and center
you did
myself to
good.
make it real?
No, you did
Okay,
good.
well, I don't see any signs. Do you see any
Well,
signs?
you
Because
gotta
I haven't
give it-
seen any signs.
You got to give it.
All
a
right, well,
second.
I
You
did
know
it.
when
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, when you breathe, you're saying God's real name, which is Yahweh.
Okay, well, that's bullshit. Do you have anything of substance?
Like, of what substance?
Yeah, do you have any actual reason to believe in a God?
I did not believe in the God until I did that prayer, and that shit fucking
Okay,
worked.
I did the prayer. Nothing happened. So is there any other reason to believe in God?
Yeah, basically, how the fuck would this be possible without God?
I don't know.
So would you?
So
rather
why should I
take your-
believe in a God?
You don't have to like believe in a God, but it's more like.
Okay,
it's more like-
are there any
it's more
reasons to believe in a God?
Yeah, it's more like.
Okay, so what's one of the
Everybody's-
reasons that I should believe in a God?
Yeah, everybody's own is personal. So, like.
Okay,
but,
well,
like,
I don't
one of
care
the-
about stuff that can't be demonstrated. I only care about things
Yeah,
I have
it's a-
reason to think are true. Is
it's
there
a-
any
it's a-
reason for me to think it's true that God exists?
It's a personal thing that like each person.
Okay. Well, I agree with
has
you.
what
It's a
they-
personal thing because different people delude themselves in different ways, but it doesn't sound like we're getting anything of substance. The guest videos, I'm not able to go to everybody's profile when they're up here. Was that person problematic somehow? I hope not. Why in the world? TikTok is so dumb and annoying sometimes. I mean, TikTok's the best. Thank you everybody so much for the support. I don't even know where we were at. World Greatest, thank you. JJ, Lamb, Discordant Rhyme, Sir Piffington, thank you so much. Decon Blue, Stoic Mando, Error 404, Deb, Mac Luster, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. And I saw you followed as well. Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you to Lamb, Polymagic, Pokegarumi. Glad to see you here and appreciate the support. Meta Morgan, likewise, same to you. And also same to Sir Piffington. So glad to see everybody here. I was just talking to Lobes last night about how massive a compliment it is to see a lot of the same people coming back. Obviously, I love new people coming in and adding their voices to the conversation. Love that immensely. But it's also extremely, it's humbling, and I take it as a huge compliment that there are a lot of people whose names I see here consistently. Yeah, whether it be Polymagic or Sunny or Ashley, Lou, Decon Blue, Atheist Cat, 3 Pips, so many fucking people, Mikey. I do this to myself every fucking time. I start listing people, and then I know I won't remember everybody, but there's so many. Yes, Infectious Bites, Bradley Cooper, so many of you. I mean, fucking Grandpa Books in here, Sir Piffington, Parker, KC, Discordant Rhyme. I mean, okay, I'm just going to start naming everybody, and I cannot do that. If I didn't name you, it's because I'm an asshole, not because I don't or it's because I have a horrible memory and I'm an asshole, not because I don't appreciate you. There's so many people here that I sincerely appreciate. Well, I appreciate that, Atheist Cat. Thank you. I'm glad to see you here, and I appreciate you. Yes, exactly, Autismal Equinox. It's flattering to me that people who do their own lives take their time to come and watch mine from time to time. So I appreciate it immensely. Anyway, thank you, Dabnese. Appreciate you too. That's true, Bradley Cooper. I did not, and that makes me an asshole, and I apologize. Hey, that's not quite right, Sonny. Close though. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure you're an adult and you have an argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Also, thanks for the likes and shares, everybody. Do appreciate it. Hi to the Earth. How old are you?
Frederick Nietzsche gave head to Plato.
Okay, well, I don't know how that's possible. Well, I don't want that, Blackjack 007. I don't want that. The cross appeared on screen. There was a cross. I guess I didn't notice a cross. All right. So currently don't have anybody requesting, but I would love to have the conversation. Oh, that is hilarious, Bames. Oh shit. I see like a notification. I haven't gone into it yet, but I see a notification on my phone for it. I'll look at that though after the stream. That's funny. Okay. Do the prayer again. No, I did the prayer. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. There's a glitch? I didn't do anything. What do you mean the guest box is glitching? I don't know. Is it better?
Back and forth, like somebody was joining and not joining.
Do I need to reset maybe?
Go ahead and drop me and it should fix it.
Okay, cool. Are we good now? Well, I'm not going to take TikTok glitches as a sign of anything other than, you know, TikTok being TikTok. But yeah. So if, well, thank you, Pokegurumi, for coming up to fix that. I appreciate your help immensely. That's the sign, yeah. If there's an all-powerful God and the best sign that he can give is making a glitchy platform glitch, then I don't know. That's pretty weak. But yeah, I currently don't have any requests. So if you are 18 plus and you think you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God, please feel free to come up. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support. Radio Spencer, Atheist Cat, Dabney's, Parker, everybody, thank you sincerely. Yeah, I don't know what... okay. But all right, well, yeah, I guess we're just gonna hang out for a second, see if somebody comes up. What's the argument I hear all the time? I hear the Kalam a lot. I think that the Kalam is a very common one that I hear. I don't know. The Kalam and fine tuning are probably the two most common ones. Unmoved mover is not one I hear very much. But it comes, look at the trees. Yeah, that's pretty common. Oh, you know what I was thinking about doing? What if I can find a way? Somebody was doing a, oh, I know where to go. I know where to go. Do we do the tier list? What do you guys think? Should I do the tier list? That could be fun. Huh? Where was it? Nope. Here we go. Well, all right, Paul. We'll all hope that you find good food samples at Costco. And if you do, we'll know that God is real. Okay. Since I don't have anybody requesting, let me see if I can I'm going to try to see if I can make this work. Do the argument for God tier list. Oh, delicious samples. Ah. Well, we'll all hope for you that you do find some delicious samples at Costco, Paul. What do I do here? We do one of these. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. No, go away. Okay. there we go. That's the one I want. Is it this one? Nope. Is it this one? Okay. Whoa. No. Okay, hold on. Why is this so fucking dumb? Okay, we do that, and then we do one of these, and we can... Oh, this is going to be annoying. All right. All right, so let's do... All right, so what are our arguments here? So tier list for arguments for God. Anselm's ontological argument, F tier. Fuck that argument. It's so fucking stupid. Banana argument, also F tier. It means nothing. It's not saying anything. Argument from consciousness, I don't know. I guess there are a few different things this could be referring to. Probably better than those other ones. We'll go C tier, argument from consciousness. Argument from desire, I think that this is like better than those F tier arguments, but it's really not saying anything. Kalam is definitely one of the better ones as far as what we're seeing so far, so I'd probably put that up in like B tier. Uncaused cause, I don't know, we're going to throw that C tier. I think that that's like one that doesn't really, I don't know, like I don't know, in my opinion, it's self-defeating. Psychophysical harmony, this is actually one of the better arguments out there right now, in my opinion. I think it has a lot of problems, but I do think that it's a decent argument. And it can have force for certain atheistic views, so it's not impossible that it could be meaningful to an atheist. So I think that actually, I'm probably going to put that as S tier, because of all the arguments for God, very few of them even have the potential of having force for an atheist, and that's one of the few. So we'll put that as an S tier argument for God. Argument from intrinsic value of humans. I think this is one of those kind of like question-beggy arguments a little bit. I don't think that it's like as bad as some of the other ones, but I think it's pretty bad. I think the free-thinking argument is basically the same, because that's like... if determinism, or if God doesn't exist, determinism's true. If determinism's true, then we don't have freedom, but it seems like we have freedom to think and choose, so there must be a God, and I think that is just a shit argument. Argument for idealism, I'm actually going to put... I might throw that as an A tier, just because like idealism has such such a high degree of theoretical virtue in terms of parsimony that I think that, well, that's true, Algramore. Kalam isn't technically an argument for God. You're right about that. Argument from idealism, I think, is actually good because idealism is so parsimonious. So I think that there's like reason to think that that would be like a higher level one. First way unmoved mover, I don't know. I'm going to put that right next to uncaused cause. I don't really see a difference. In terms of like the force or compelling nature of the argument, or how, whatever. Fine tuning, that's definitely a better one. I'm going to probably put that up here in A. Yeah, we'll put fine tuning as an A tier argument, although I do think that there's some pretty easy defeaters for it. Evolutionary argument against naturalism, I don't know, I'm probably going to go with like B tier, because there's actually like something being said. I just don't think that it works. Leibniz's contingency argument, I'm probably biased against it because the people who run it usually are so fucking stupid and so annoying to deal with, but I'll put that as a C tier argument. Maybe it should be higher, I don't know. I'm not super familiar with Swinburne's argument for the laws of nature, so I feel like we're going to put that next to the evolutionary argument against naturalism, because these like actual philosophical arguments are better. Razim Zoomer argument from maths, I mean, that's so fucking stupid. Yeah, we're definitely putting that F tier. Argument from moral knowledge. This is just like we're gonna go bottom of D tier because argument for moral knowledge is just like saying that like our moral intuitions tell us moral truths, and then if that's true, then there must be a God to ensure that that's true, but that's obviously not true. Paley's Watchmaker, I mean, it's not as bad as some of the really shitty ones, but it's pretty bad. Well, maybe like, we'll put it at top. No, we'll put it right there in D tier. Plantinga's modal ontological argument, we're going to put that at the top of C tier. I don't think it's quite as good as some of the other actual philosophical arguments, but it is better than some of these other C tier ones. Argument for personal experience, again, I think that that's another one that just is meaningless. The moral argument, probably not quite as bad as the F tier stuff. Maybe we put this kind of like, actually, we might put that at the top of D tier. The third way, we're just going to put that next to the other Aquinas arguments. And then the trademark argument, we're going F tier. I might be biased about putting psychophysical harmony so high. I think that it's good because it actually can have force for some atheists. Now, obviously, most atheists it won't, and even the atheists that it does have force for, I did put a personal experience on the lowest tier. I put personal experience as an F tier argument. But yeah, I think that the reason I have psychophysical harmony so high is that it's probably the only argument for God that I'm aware of right now that actually gives us reason, or gives anyone reason to think about whether they should believe in a God. Like, it's the only thing that comes close to giving us reason to update. And then idealism and fine tuning. Again, I think that these are like legitimate arguments that while they have defeaters, they're actually saying something substantive, and I think that that's not something that can be said for a lot of arguments for God. We probably should move this like that, but I think that these B tier ones are examples of actual philosophical arguments from people who know what they're talking about. I just think that they have bigger problems and are easier to defeat than some of the higher ones. And then like C tier, again, these are just like the kind of like the B tier, but just the worst ones, the ones that have some kind of philosophical backing behind them, but don't really have a lot of force. And then D tier, we're just getting into really bad arguments that defeat themselves. And then F tier is like, if you run these arguments, I don't really care what you have to say about much of anything. Can't really read them? Okay, hold on. We're going to move this down. It does that every time. Okay. So that's where we ended up. I don't know. Reasonable. But they're all still really bad. Like, obviously, even S tier is like, not, there's no reason to actually believe in it. There we go. Good times. It was a fun little exercise. But since it's been a bit and we haven't gotten any requests or anything, I was hoping during that we'd get some requests, but what are you going to do? Best atheist arguments? I don't know. I don't have one for that. That was one that I had seen other people do, so I figured it could be fun. Yeah, no ops right now, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick reset on the... Hey, thanks, Poopman Jones. Appreciate you for the support. Thank you very much. Speaking of which, Fadgen, Poopman Jones, Love Animal, Dabney's, thank you all so much for the support. I'm actually going to do a reset here on the TikTok, and then I will be right back, and we can have hopefully some more conversations, actual debates. So just give me a moment, and I will be right back. Assuming that I can actually do this. Okay, I'll be right back. All right. Just you and me, YouTubes. Okay, hopefully the TikTok will stop being stupid here shortly. All right. Weird. Okay. And let's hope we don't have the same problem as last time where I have to like reset everything and restart in order to go live again. I think we're back. Okay. Awesome. All right. So hopefully we'll get some folks in. And yeah, you are first, Pokegurumi. And thanks again for your help earlier. I appreciate you. We are back indeed. Back indeed. Hey, thanks, Poopman Jones. Long time no see indeed. All right. So hopefully we'll get some folks in who want to actually have the debate. That would be nice, right? Oh, thanks for the shares and everything and tapping the screen and all that. I appreciate it. If you are in the guest queue, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. The Elliot crash out. Hi, Tanking. How old are you?
I'm 30.
And what God do you believe in?
I don't prescribe to any specific theology. I'm not Christian or anything like that, but my general belief in a God in general just comes from my own personal research into biology and physics.
Okay, but you would believe in like an immaterial mind that created and sustains the universe?
I believe that there's an uncaused causer that exists outside of time and space.
So is that a yes or a no to my question?
What was your specific question?
Do you believe in an immaterial mind that created and sustains the universe?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us justification to believe in a God?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the first piece of evidence is that nothing caused itself. Everything exists within a chain of causality, dependent causality. So that's the first piece. And then the second would be the fine-tuning argument. So the specific.
Well, we can only talk about one argument at a time. So what argument do you want to discuss first?
Yeah, so we can start with my first point. So causality.
Okay.
Everything that we know of exists within a dependent state of causality.
Okay. So you're saying that everything that we know of that comes into existence has a cause for its existence?
Yes.
Okay. And would you also agree that every time we see something come into existence, it's made out of something else that already existed?
Correct.
Okay. And so if everything that comes into existence is made out of something else that already existed, then if we examine some, let's say we pick a random thing, some X that began to exist, well, that thing is either going to be made out of some other thing that began to exist, or it's going to be made out of some beginningless thing. If we examine some X and find that it was made out of a beginningless thing, then obviously the universe had to be beginningless in order for that beginningless thing to exist in it. And if we examine an X and find that instead it was made out of something else that began to exist, well, then when we examine that, it's also going to either be made out of something beginningless, which would require a beginningless universe, or it will be made out of something else that had its own beginning. And so you may be catching what's happening here. Every time we examine something that began to exist, no matter how far back we go, the only options are going to be that it was made out of something else that began, or it's made out of something beginningless. So either there's an infinite regress of things being made out of other things that already existed, which requires a beginningless universe, or there's some beginningless thing that was made into the first, the first thing that came into existence other than the beginningless thing, in which case we need a beginningless universe for that beginningless thing to exist in. Either way, it seems like the only option available to us is a beginningless universe. And if the universe didn't begin to exist, that means it wasn't brought into existence. If it wasn't brought into existence, then it wasn't created. If it wasn't created, it doesn't have a creator. And if it doesn't have a creator, then there is no creator, which means that there is no God.
Right. To be fair, I don't mean this in a mean way, but nothing you really said really meant anything. So,
well, it did mean something, because what I did was I showed from your inference that, all the things that we see begin to exist have a cause. I was able to use that exact data that you made that inductive inference from to draw a similar, equally supported inductive inference that all things that begin to exist are made out of other stuff that already existed in the universe. And if that's true, which based on your logic, we should assume that it's true, then that means that the universe itself must be beginningless and therefore not created, therefore not having a creator, therefore no God existing.
So first of all, you mentioned infinite regress. So the general consensus, like even from people who study physics, like the scientific consensus is generally speaking that you cannot count backwards.
Source?
To infinity.
Source?
I don't have any direct source on me, but
Oh, it's just a claim that you pulled out of your ass? Well, I don't believe claims pulled out of people's asses. Sorry.
Well, that's what you just did.
No, I didn't do anything like that. All I did was give you a line of reasoning that you can see works. If you had a response, if you had there was no source needed. Only thing that I appealed to that would have needed a source is your argument. If you agree that the inference that was made at the beginning of my argument is bad, then that means that you gave a bad inference, which I'm happy to accept. We can throw my entire argument out if you agree that the inference it was based on was bad. Do you agree that you gave a bad inference at the beginning of this conversation?
To be honest, I'm not even sure what you said because you yapped for like 3 minutes straight, and you just made
right, and it's totally unreasonable to think that you might track the thing that the person you're having a debate with would say, right?
You're just.
Is that completely unreasonable to think that you would track what's being said to you in a debate?
I'm tracking what's being said.
Oh, okay, cool. So what's your response to my argument that the universe must be beginningless?
The universe. What's your reasoning for that, though?
I provided it twice now. And you said that you're tracking.
You just said that infinite regress was possible and that...
I didn't say that infinite regress is possible. That's not what. It's not at all what I said. So if you can admit that you weren't able to track, and I'll break the argument down for you, or you can give a response to the argument.
Yeah, I'll respond to your point.
Cool.
So, yeah, you said that... No, I really didn't understand your point. Can you just tell me what you were trying to say?
Yeah, so your claim that you started with is that everything that begins to exist has a cause for its existence, right?
Exactly.
Fantastic. And from that exact data that you used to draw that inference, because that's what's called an inductive inference. Are you familiar with induction?
Yes.
Okay, so you made an inductive inference, and I'm using the exact data that you're using to come to a stronger inductive inference that not only does everything we see begin to exist have a cause, but also everything that we see begin to exist is made out of something else that already existed. So what we can do from that information, we can think about a thing that itself began to exist. Let's imagine a thing that we'll call X that began to exist. Are you with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. So if we examine whatever this X is and say, what was it made out of? Because we already determined everything that begins to exist is made out of some other stuff that already existed in the universe. So if we take this X and we say, what kinds of things is it made out of? There are only two options. Either X is made out of some other thing that also began to exist, or it's made out of something that never began to exist. Do you agree that's exhaustive?
What you're saying is like everything you're saying is true up until that point because the last point you're making is acting under an assumption that science does not make because everything that we know of is finite and everything that we know of
that's not an answer to my question. That doesn't answer the question. I'm asking you if it's a true dichotomy to say that a thing made out of something else that already existed must have been made out of either something that itself began to exist or something that itself did not begin to exist. Do you agree that's a dichotomy?
Name one thing that exists from something that doesn't exist.
That's not a response to the question. Do you just not understand the question I'm asking you?
I just don't understand where this variable of nothingness is coming from.
I didn't say anything about nothingness. Never said anything about nothingness at all.
Your point doesn't make sense, and that's not...
What is the thing that doesn't make sense?
Everything that you're saying, because it's
Give me a specific example.
I don't even know what you're point is.
Okay, so what you're saying is since you're not able to track the point that I'm making, it must be illogical? It couldn't
Well, if I
possibly just be that you're not smart enough to figure it out?
Well, if I speak nonsense, does that mean you're stupid for not being able to decipher my nonsense? You're just speaking.
I would be able to point directly to the thing that you said and why it doesn't make sense. Can you point to the thing that I said that doesn't make sense and explain why?
Can anyone in the comments tell me what he's saying? Because I certainly don't understand.
So you don't understand the concept of what a true dichotomy is, or what? What is it that you're getting tripped up on?
What's the dichotomy that you're referring to specifically?
Yeah. If something was made out of something else that already began to exist, the stuff that it was made out of itself either began to exist or did not begin to exist.
Right. Everything that exists came from something that already exists.
That's not what I'm asking about.
That's literally what you just said.
No. Let's imagine we have an X and it was made out of Y. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Now, is it a true dichotomy that either Y began to exist or did not begin to exist?
Y began to exist because of
No, that's not the question. Or do you agree that it's a true dichotomy that either Y began to exist or did not begin to exist?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. That's the only point that I was making. If we're examining this thing X that began to exist and we determine that it was made out of Y, then either Y began to exist or Y did not begin to exist.
Right.
Okay, fantastic. So now if we determine that Y did not begin to exist and has existed in the universe without beginning, that must mean the universe is beginningless, right?
How are you coming to that conclusion?
Because if Y existed in the universe without beginning, then the universe would have to exist for it to be existing in. And so if Y exists without beginning, then the universe exists without beginning.
If Y came into existence without beginning, but Y
No. No, we're saying Y did not come into existence. Y existed without beginning. If it came into
There's no
existence,
Y.
that would be a beginning.
But Y doesn't exist.
I'm not asking you to affirm the existence of a thing that didn't begin to exist. I'm asking you to
Yes,
just
sir.
deal with the logic. If it was the case that there was a Y that exists in the universe, but Y did not itself begin to exist, then it would be the case that the universe did not begin to exist, right?
The issue is the hypothetical doesn't actually exist.
I don't
There's no
care. I don't care. I'm not asking you to grant that it does. I'm just asking you to engage with the hypothetical. In the case that there's a Y that exists in the universe and did not itself begin to exist, would it then be the case that the universe did not begin to exist?
If something did not begin to exist, would that mean what is already observed did not begin to exist?
No.
Do you hear
That's
how
not
we-
what I'm asking you. That's not what I asked.
Okay. You're asking.
Are you
if
just
it's
completely
hypothetical-
incapable of tracking a simple question? I'm saying if Y exists in the universe and did
say
not,
with you.
if Y
If
exists in the universe and did not begin to exist, that must mean that the universe did not begin to exist, right?
Right, but Y is not a real thing.
I'm not asking whether Y is a real thing. I'm asking if that conditional is true.
Right, but I'm saying there's nothing.
I'm not asking whether that is true the case. I'm asking if the conditional is true.
If that was true, then hypothetically, but that assumes things that are not.
I don't care. That's what a conditional is, my guy. A conditional is just saying if A is the case, is B the case? I'm asking you, if it was the case that there was a Y that existed in the universe without beginning, would it also be the case that the universe must exist without beginning?
Not necessarily, but hypothetically it could.
Okay, so how could it be the case that there's a Y that exists in the universe without beginning, but the universe does have a beginning?
Because everything that's observed exists in a chain of.
You're not answering the
at least
question.
causality.
Imagining that there's a Y that exists in the universe, is if
Not
that's
liking my answer.
No.
It's not the same as me not answering.
no, because you're not engaging with the hypothetical. This is like
I am engaging.
Okay, so
It's a
then tell me
non-hypothetical.
how it's possible for a Y that exists in the universe without beginning to exist in a universe that had a beginning.
You're asking me to explain something that isn't real. That doesn't.
Yeah, I'm asking you to engage with the hypothetical. This is how philosophy works. So how is it possible for a Y that
I-
exists in the universe without beginning to exist in a universe with a beginning? How is that possible?
Sir, I have an actual background in this stuff. I know what I'm talking about. and
Well,
I
then
would
you
like
would be able to
talk-
engage with the question that I'm asking you, and the fact that you can't engage means one of two things. It either
not
means
letting me.
that you aren't smart enough to track what's happening and you have too big of an ego to admit that, or it means that you know that this is going to ruin your argument and you have too big of an ego to let that happen, so you're sandbagging and refusing to move forward. So because we're in one of those two situations, I'm going to force the issue. I'm going to ask you this question one more time. If you don't honestly and directly engage by giving an answer that is responsive to the question in a substantive way, I'm just going to take it as a concession that you know you can't answer the question without ruining your argument, and I'm going to move on. So how is it the case that there could be a Y that exists in the universe without beginning, but the universe has a beginning?
That Y could exist without a beginning, but that Y could exist without a beginning, but this universe couldn't have a beginning.
If Y exists in the universe but does not have a beginning, how is it possible that the universe has a beginning?
Right. Can I ask you a question?
No, you can respond to the question.
Sure. All right. So, Y could hypothetically exist if it existed outside of the same
Yeah,
paradigm.
again, you're not engaging with the hypothetical, and I'll take that concession. Thank you. Obviously, I specifically said the hypothetical is that Y exists in the universe. The only way that I can engage is if I change the hypothetical, because I know that if I actually engage in the hypothetical, it ruins my argument. Hey, thanks for the hat and mustache. I ran away from Malpass into exist argument. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God, and your God particularly. Maybe XREX isn't going to join. Bueller. Okay. Thanks everybody for the support. Thank you to Mickey B, Neurospicy Cat Lady, Liz Biz, thank you. Poopman Jones, Lem, Love Animal, appreciate it. Poppy Loco, Poopman Jones, thank you so much. Love Animal, again, thank you for the hand heart. Gen X JD, appreciate you, thank you. Jessica, appreciate it. Sir Piffington, love it, thank you so much. And Italy as well, thank you for the support. If you are in the guest box or you're thinking about requesting, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. No, I typically don't bring up agnostics. Just looking to talk to people who actually believe in a God. Hi, Chad. How old are you?
18.
And what God do you believe in?
Jesus.
All right. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Like if there's already like something like in existence, like why would God not like make it?
So do you have any argument or evidence?
Obviously there's no evidence, but like you just have to like believe in it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
if you
we're
are
here
in the
right now.
guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. If you agree with me that there is no reason to believe in God, then there's probably no reason to request. Hi, Rickery Tickery Talk. How old are you?
I'm 44.
Cool. And what God do you believe in?
I'm a Catholic, so I believe in the Christian God. Yeah.
Okay.
The Judeo-Christian God.
Sure. And then
Before we start, though, hang on a second. I just want to say something, if you will allow me. The lack of logic that I see from these other Christian apologists is abysmal. It's so insulting to logic. Well, hang on, if I may. You were asking very fair, logical questions, and they could not answer them. So I hope I can do better.
Well, we'll see. I will say that in my limited experience, Catholics seem to be slightly more capable of engaging honestly, but I may be biased there because I've had the good fortune of talking with Catholic Thinker. Not sure if you're familiar with him, but in my experience, he's one of the better theists who's engaging in these conversations. But to move on from the preamble, what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily, though there is logical evidence for God, the best argument for God would be the creation of everything.
Why should I think everything was created?
Right. Okay, so now it might sound circular to you, but to me...
Well, don't do the circular thing.
I'm saying it might sound circular, but the idea here, from my premise of even being a fan of logic and science, that you like the best proof of the existence of God has to do with us being created purely on scientific evidence.
No, so I already heard you say that the evidence for God is that everything was created, and then saying that the reason to believe in God is that everything is created. Like, we haven't moved forward at all. I already asked you, what's the reason to think that everything was created? And responding by saying, well, we should believe in God because everything was created is not informative.
So that's true.
Okay, so give me the informative response, please.
Can I do it in the form of a question?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So just purely, what is the argument for God?
The actual substance of what the reason is that we should believe in a God. Your claim is we should believe in a God because everything was created.
All you can see, here's the argument. All that you can see and all that you can ever observe is definitely created by an intelligent design.
That's the claim. You've already made this claim, Rickery. You're honestly making yourself look like the last guy. And maybe in your head it doesn't seem that way, but you're doing exactly what he did, and maybe even worse.
Let's go to specifics then.
Yeah, that's what you should have been doing already, my guy.
Okay, calm down.
Oh God, you think I'm not calm?
What exactly would you like an answer to?
Yeah, I would like you to answer what the reason is that we should think that the universe was created.
Because the idea of the Big Bang Theory and evolution is kind of like inconsistent.
Yeah, let's imagine that those have been proven wrong. We have no idea what the actual explanations are. The scientific explanations that are currently on the table have been proven wrong. What's the reason to believe in a God?
What would be your other answer?
I said no questions. What's the reason to believe in a God?
Purpose.
Okay, so you're just going to completely run away from the thing that you said before. Previously, you were saying, well, we should believe in God because God's a better explanation than the Big Bang or evolution. But when I say, fantastic, we'll get rid of the Big Bang, we'll get rid of evolution, pretend that those have been proven wrong. Now, how does God provide the answer? And you run away to purpose?
I didn't run away.
Okay, then give the answer of why we should think. Give the answer, Rickery. Give the answer of why we should think that God is the explanation for the creation of the existence of the universe and the existence of humanity.
Because you don't have a better one.
Okay, so you're actually just going to appeal to a named logical fallacy. You think that that's a good debate strategy?
Well, okay. Am I using a fallacy?
Yeah. No, you're using a known named logical fallacy. This is called the argument from ignorance. I don't know the answer to this question. Therefore, the answer that I want to be is the correct one.
So you don't have to have an answer, but I do.
You're the one making the claim. You're claiming that God is the answer. What's the evidence for that claim?
No, sir, you're the one who's making the claim that God is not real.
You have made the claim that God exists and God is the explanation for why the universe exists.
Listen, you understand what logical fallacy is, right? God isn't real is your claim. Now the burden of proof is on you. So what better evidence do you have of no God than I do?
Fantastic. So you're saying that you can't give an argument, so you want me to give an argument. Your argument failed. Like you just got Spawn killed on your argument, so you want me to make the argument, right?
Your claim is that God is not real.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How does the burden of proof, how do you can substantiate that?
Okay, so just to make sure that I'm giving you an argument that's responsive to the kind of God you believe in, since there's so many different ones, do you believe in a God that is triomni, all good, all knowing, all powerful?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And one more question. Do you believe that there was a state of existence of God sans creation and a different state of existence of God with creation?
You're gonna have to repeat that to me. That was a bit much. Go ahead.
Was there a state of existence where God existed without the universe?
Was there a state of existence prior to God? Is that
No.
what you're asking?
Nope.
Okay.
Was there a state of existence where God existed without the universe?
From my worldview, no.
Okay, so God has never existed in a state of existence without the universe. That God and the universe are co-eternal?
Whoa! That's a different argument.
I'm trying to clarify your position. I'm not making an argument.
What did you just say?
I'm asking if it is your position that God and the universe are co-eternal.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. If the universe is eternal, then that means it doesn't have a beginning. If the universe doesn't have a beginning, it never came into existence. If it didn't come into existence, then it wasn't created. If it wasn't created, it doesn't have a creator. If God exists, then he is the creator of the universe. Therefore, God does not exist.
Bro, okay. So you just led me down this path of your own logic.
I didn't lead you down a path of my own logic. I asked you questions to clarify your position. You clarified your position, and I showed you how from your position, God doesn't exist. I'd be happy to put it up on the screen if you need me to.
Hang on a second. You were trying to draw my logical conclusion while at the same time explaining your own.
That wasn't even the argument, Rick. That wasn't the argument I was going to give.
Absolutely it was.
Rick, stop. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
I'm totally calm, dude.
Okay, then you need to stop talking. What I'm saying here is I was going to give a completely different argument, but your answers made it clear that there's already a contradiction in your view.
No. Here's what you're doing wrong, okay? Can I tell you what you're doing wrong?
So we're going to say God.
I answer one question, and then you go to the furthest conclusion of your worldview.
Then both God and the universe are exist without beginning, correct?
Listen.
Is that your position or no?
Yes, but
okay, fantastic.
Stop that.
So then, if the universe
we're not gonna talk
exists without beginning, then it never came into existence.
Do you even listen to the arguments of people
and
you're saying?
If the universe never came into
you just go to the furthest logical conclusion of your world,
then it was never created.
Yes, that's the furthest
if the universe was never created, then it does not have a creator. If the universe does not have a creator, then
and you think that's my worldview, that the universe doesn't have a creator?
Not
you see what you're doing right
universe.
Now? You're implementing your own worldview in the middle of it.
Exists,
you stopped my worldview and you continued with your own.
God
you're a liar and a sham, dude.
God,
you can't even engage.
God did create the universe.
You cannot even engage.
So then we're going to say God does not exist. So which premise do you reject?
All of it. Especially since what happened was...
All right, fantastic. So you've just rejected your own worldview.
No, you idiot.
Yeah, you just rejected your own worldview.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You said that your worldview is premise number one, and then you said your worldview was premise number one, and then when I asked you which premises you reject, you said you reject all of them, which includes your worldview in premise number one. So you reject your own worldview, my guy. Good job.
Okay. Can we break this down a little bit? Because what happens?
So do you want to engage honestly and reject a premise for real, or do you want me to move on?
This is bad.
So which premise do you actually reject?
Let's go with the idea that God.
Which premise did you actually reject? So name a number 1 through 6.
You don't listen to people, do you?
So 1 through 6.
You actually.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6.
Okay, so you want to control.
So 1 through 6. Which one do you reject?
Why don't you decide? Tell me which one I'd reject.
All right. Notice how he came in here. Oh man, I'm definitely going to do better than that last guy. And then as soon as it became obvious that his position had a problem, he stopped being honest. Every time. You're right, Jay. I do resort to filibusters a lot because you know what I'm never going to allow? I'm never going to allow people to run away from the substance. It's not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. And if what you want to see is debates where people get to run away from the substance, then you don't want to watch my debates. At least not here. When I'm on other people's streams, I'll go by the way that they handle things. No problem. I will let people talk a lot more. I'll let people, do their gish galloping, whatever tone the other host sets, I will follow. But on my platform, I'm going to do it my way. And the way that I do it is that you don't get to run away from the substance. All right. Now that I did my yapping, I will say thank you again so much for the people supporting. Where were we at? Thank you so much to Gina, to Lem, Blondie, Love Animal. What is this? KK Veneroso. Oh, with the money gun even. Thank you so much, KK Veneroso. I appreciate it so much. Honestly, the support that you guys have given me genuinely means an enormous amount. So, because of your guys' support, I have been able to do an insane amount of stuff. I've been able to get cameras and monitors. I'm saving up for a new computer. Hopefully get that relatively soon. Just a lot of different things that I've been able to do that I definitely would not have been able to do if it wasn't for the support of you guys. Like I've talked about it multiple times, I am currently working on going to college. Hey, thank you, Poppy Loco, and Tina Jones for the hand heart. I'm currently working on starting college later this month. So, your guys' support has been enormous in me trying to, pursue my goals and make the stream better. Speaking of making the stream better, I do have a YouTube. If you guys are so inclined to go over to YouTube and drop a subscription, I'd appreciate it. If not, no worries. And then I also have a Discord that you're welcome to join. And, we can build community, learn and grow together. That's the goal over there. All right, so if you are in the guest queue or you're thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Absolutely, lifelong learning. That is the goal, to always continue learning and growing. What animal talks? Humans. Humans are talking animals. Hi, DePerky. How old are you?
I am 28 years old. What about you?
I'm 40.
Nice.
And what God do you believe in?
So I'm Christian, but I don't practice traditionally.
That's fine.
I want to understand the question a little bit better.
What question?
Or I guess the premise of the argument, which would be God isn't real. So by saying that, that's a claim in and of itself.
Yep.
And it's a pretty, I'd say it's a more extreme claim than saying that God is real.
I would disagree with that.
But we can disagree on that. Mostly with that, I just want to say there is more possibility in the universe than impossibility. So you almost take a godlike stance saying...
I have no idea what it means to say that there's more possibility than impossibility. Do you want to present an argument, or were you asking me to present an argument that God doesn't exist?
Well, I could present mine, and then
sure,
you can break it apart however you decide.
Yeah.
But from the start, okay, we'll go back to the beginning of the universe.
Why should I think the universe had a beginning?
There's a lot of evidence pointing towards that. With
Can I ask you for a favor, DePerky?
Yes, sir.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when people say there's a lot of evidence instead of just giving the evidence. So please don't say that there's a lot of evidence. If you're in a situation where you think that you should mention evidence, then just give the evidence instead of talking about there being evidence. So if you're saying that there is evidence the universe began, then the best way to answer my question of why I should think that the universe began would be to just present the evidence for the beginning of the universe. So what is that evidence? And also, I cannot hear you if you're off the app.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so the evidence is space naturally and planetary systems naturally move in one direction, in all directions, at the same speed. Okay. So what scientists have deduced from that is that originated from some point which they call the Big Bang.
Yep, that's the beginning of the expansion. I'm not asking. Oh, I'm not asking you about the beginning of the expansion. I'm asking you why I should think the universe began to exist. Those are very different things.
I don't have a claim for that, but I have a claim for why the Big Bang originated from something that isn't within our universe now. That exists as a part of it. But
yeah, what's the evidence for that?
I guess my claim would be to...
I don't want another claim. I want the evidence for the claim that you just made.
All right, well, the claim is...
No, I already know the claim. What's the evidence for the claim?
The Big Bang... Let me backtrack a little bit, all right? Jesus. All right, so, starting from the claim, since everything's moving in the same direction, at the same speed, there is evidence. You would agree that there is evidence that the universe didn't have so much as a beginning, but the matter that we experience in the universe and what eventually created the conditions that we live in all originated from one explosion of hydrogen, carbon, silica, everything.
Nope.
That constitutes our universe.
No, you started going off the rails in the middle, and then at the end you just went completely off the rails. No. The most charitable reading of what you're trying to say, I think what you're trying to ask is if there's evidence that everything in the observable universe has expanded or come from, the hot dense state that the Big Bang originated at. Is that what you're trying to ask?
I'm not asking a question. That's just, I'm setting up a premise.
You were asking a question. Yes, you were asking a question. You were asking me if I agree about all this stuff having a beginning of the expansion.
So, yeah, I asked if you
okay, so are you asking?
Yes, I'm asking.
Okay, so I think that the current expansion of the universe, we have evidence that had a beginning. I don't know that we have any evidence about what happened prior to that beginning of the expansion or where the stuff that expanded came from. Your claim was apparently that you have some evidence about where the stuff that what made up the hot dense state came from or what caused the beginning of the expansion. If you have evidence for that, I would love to hear it.
Okay, so my evidence for that is that there is none. God is what we use as filler word for things that we can't explain, right?
Okay, well, that's not interesting to me. I agree with you that there are things that can't be explained. I'm not... my question, what's the reason to believe in God, has nothing to do with what's the reason to think that there are unanswered questions. I know there are unanswered questions. I don't care about unanswered questions. I care about how do we know that certain questions are answered by a God.
And just look at your screen. I mean, it says God isn't real. Prove me wrong. So I might be starting the argument in a place where you're not used to, or you're trying to get.
I'm very used to people starting at where you're starting, and it works 0% of the time. So maybe you're going to be the first person who's actually going to be able to pull off the thing that you're trying to do, but you're certainly not going to do it by pivoting away from the actual substance. So again, what is the reason to think that the universe had a beginning? Not the expansion, but the existence of the universe. Why should we think that had a beginning?
I don't think that we should have that there's evidence that there was a beginning. There was a beginning of expansion, which created the...
Well, your reason to think that God exists is because of the beginning of the universe. And so if you're now conceding that we don't have reason to believe in the beginning of the universe, then clearly the beginning of the universe can't be a reason to believe in God, right?
I agree.
Okay, cool. So what would be an argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
It's more of chance, probability. you think of probability and the infinitesimal likelihood that we would be here. So
how did you determine the likelihood that we would be here?
Damn, you're fucking a ball buster. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm never going to let people get away with making
define
claims.
God to me. I'm not gonna. Okay, we'll put a pin in that claim. We can revisit that. I want to know, as when you say God isn't real, who is God? What is God to you, as far as practical definition?
God is the creator of the universe. I would say a supernatural creator of the universe. Maybe to be more specific, a personal ultimate foundation to reality. That's what I'm talking about when I say God doesn't exist or God isn't real.
And your evidence to back that up is in relation to the Big Bang.
No, I just was responding to the argument that you made.
I'm asking a question. It's like, what's your evidence of that in relation to the Big Bang?
Nothing.
What information do you have that excludes a divine creator snapping that into existence?
Yeah, I wouldn't give any argument that has anything to do with the Big Bang. So if you're asking me for an argument for the non-existence of God that is centered on the Big Bang, I don't have one.
Okay. So that's two of us.
No.
So let's move
no,
on
I have
to-
lots of arguments that God doesn't exist. It's just none of them focus on the Big Bang because that's irrelevant. Just like the Big Bang was irrelevant to any reason to believe that God does exist, it's also irrelevant to reasons to believe God doesn't exist. From my perspective, whether or not God exists is not a scientific question. I'm happy for people to present scientific evidence that they think demonstrates God's existence because I could be wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong and God's existence is a scientific question, and maybe there will be someone who presents scientific evidence that gives a reason to believe in God. That's epistemically possible at the very least. I currently don't think that that is possible, metaphysically or logically, but I could be wrong about that. So I allow people to present scientific evidence when they so choose. However, from my perspective, whether or not God exists is a philosophical question. So all my evidence, all the arguments that I would give would be philosophical. They wouldn't have to do with scientific information. Now, maybe there'd be some scientific information that would back up some of the points that I make in my arguments, but it certainly wouldn't be grounded in the foundation of some scientific research.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, so are you asking me to give an argument against God, or do you want to give your probability argument?
No, because there's holes in that. Mostly, I choose to believe because of faith. And
do you agree that faith can lead people to false conclusions sometimes?
For sure.
Right.
For sure, you see it today.
Okay, cool. So let's imagine. I want you to go in with me on a scenario here. Let's say you and I are hiking out in the woods, and you know the woods really, really well. You're from the area, and I'm not from that area, so I don't know those woods, and I have no idea how to get back to the town that we came from. Then you trip, you fall, and you shatter your leg. It's a horrible, horrible accident. You cannot walk, and I can't carry you. So now the only way for you to get help is for you to explain to me which path to take to get back to town so that I can bring help to get you to a hospital and get your leg fixed. Now, there are two paths that you know of that you could tell me to take. The first path is one that is really easy. It's a straight line, and it's flat ground, so there's no ups and downs, no challenging terrain. However, you know that sometimes when people take that path, they get to town, and sometimes when people take that path, they end up in the middle of nowhere with no idea how they got there. So, and then the second path is a much harder path. There are a lot of ups and downs, some difficult terrain, and it's a little bit windy, but you know with 100% confidence everybody who takes that path always gets to town. So those are the options. You need me to get to town to bring help back to get you to a hospital. Which path are you going to tell me to take?
Okay, so what you're presenting is, I guess, faith through the lens of somebody that's just a blind believer versus someone that uses logic in their human experience to...
Right. What I'm saying is, should we use the path that doesn't reliably get us where we want to go, or should we use the path that does reliably get us where we want to go?
I mean, painted with that logic and into that corner, yes, the path that eventually leads you home.
Right. You would want me to take the path that, even though it's difficult and might take more effort, you would want me to take the path that reliably will get me to town so I can bring help back for you, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, if in that scenario, the goal is getting to town to get help for you. In the real scenario that we're in right now, the goal is having true beliefs and not having false beliefs. If that's my goal, is to have true beliefs and not have false beliefs, should I take the path of using faith to determine what's true? Or should I take paths of using reason, logic, and evidence that reliably get us to, if not totally true answers, more and more true answers over time?
Right, and I think emotionally and what you can feel in your body when you...
I'm not asking about emotion and I'm not asking about feelings. I'm asking what is the... If our goal is to get to true beliefs and to get rid of false beliefs, which is a better path to take? Faith or reason?
Man, ethos and pathos are just interlinked at the hip. They're one and the same.
Can you please answer the question? Which is more likely to reliably lead us to the goal of having true beliefs and not having false beliefs?
I mean, I can't agree with you there.
So you think that if someone's goal is having true beliefs, that it would be reasonable for them to use a method that doesn't reliably lead to true beliefs in order to determine what they should believe?
I mean, I think critical thinking is...
Can you just answer the question?
It's just not a productive question, so I don't really want to answer it.
Yeah, no, it's not that it's not a productive question. It's that if you answered honestly, it would ruin your worldview. And I'm sorry that you are so afraid of having true beliefs that you can't answer the question. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're at least 18 and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God, in your God preferably. Okay. Hey, Mikey. Please do not come up to Glaze. That is... I mean, I appreciate you guys. I sincerely do, but it is not the point of the lives. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment. Please don't get me wrong. Yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in your God. If you are not 18, then I'm not going to bring you up. Or I should say, if you're under 18, I am not going to bring you up. Exactly, Ashley. If you want to glaze, do it in the comments or send gifts. My PayPal and my Venmo are in my TikTok bio. If you want to, I'm not saying anyone has to. By all means, you're more than welcome to be here without gifting anything. But those options exist if you're interested in doing that. Hi, Dominic. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Cool. And what God do you believe in?
I'm Christian.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God?
All right. So I want to start off with the last guy said about...
I don't really want to do the preamble, and I really don't want you to do like a debate review of the last guy's performance. So please just provide the argument or evidence that you'd like to discuss.
I'm just saying I'm not doing any of that. But it says in your thing, God isn't real. Prove me wrong. But... you can't prove anything. You can't prove to me that we're talking right now. You can't prove to me that you're speaking. You can give evidence.
Okay, so you just want to tone police? Is that all you want to do? Because I'm not really interested in that, and I'll just move on.
No.
Okay, so what's the argument or evidence that God exists?
Look. Okay, so evidence, you can't, it would be the Bible.
Okay, how does the Bible provide evidence that God exists?
Well, so it doesn't provide evidence that God
okay, so the Bible doesn't provide evidence. So what is the argument or evidence that God exists?
This kid is, well, why are you cutting me off? Chill out.
Because you're not on topic, and I don't give a fuck about your ramble. We're not here to go on the ramble roller coaster. What we're here to do is actually to engage in the substance. So what would be one piece of evidence or one argument that would provide a reason to believe in a God?
Hey, just give me a chance to talk, okay?
If you start talking and it's not an argument or evidence for God, I'm going to cut you off again.
Okay, well, so what I was saying...
Okay, so what's the argument or evidence for God?
What I was saying before I was interrupted...
All right, I'll ask one more time, and if your response isn't providing an argument or evidence for God, I'm just going to move on. What is the best argument or evidence for God?
I'm going to give you an argument here.
Okay, well, that wasn't giving an argument, so we'll just go ahead and move on. All right. Please don't do that. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification for your God belief. Yeah, for some reason, people just want to cry. I'm not really here to listen to your crying. Hi, Jeff. How old are you? Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can. How old are you?
Man, my phone must be freaking out. I am an atheist.
Okay, well, have a good one, man. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. What is this? Oh, shit, that's happening. Awesome. Sick. Okay, cool. Cool. Is atheism a religion? No, atheism is not a religion. All right. If you... Oh, I already just said that. All right, we're going to bring up the next person. Hi, Toucan. How old are you?
I'm 51.
Okay.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
All right.
Good. What God do you believe in?
Kind of hitting on some things. Say that again, sir.
Yeah, just asking what God you believe in.
I wouldn't say I believe in God, but I believe I don't believe in God as an entity. Like a lot of the people that's coming up and thinking he's some big bad guy in the sky. I think he's more of a, I would say like a consciousness.
Okay, but you do believe that there's like some kind of conscious being that created and sustains the rest of reality?
Of course.
Okay, cool. But it's...
I think...
is it? Am I correct in assuming that it's not one associated with a religion?
No.
Okay.
I'm anti-religion.
Fair enough. Don't blame you.
Just
what would
organized chaos.
That's pretty true. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give a reason to believe in God?
Us people, the decisions you make, the things you manifest, consciousness.
How do any of these give us a reason to believe in God?
Because things happen in real time. The things that we do.
I agree that things happen. I'm just asking, what's the reason to believe in God?
Because that's a hard question to ask. I mean, to answer, because we are all operating on learned and taught behavior. So, that's a hard one to ask. I got to be honest with you. That's a difficult one. You
can stop me if you want to, but you sound like a genuine, honest person, which, as you may have heard, if you've been here for a little while, I don't get a lot of that. So I appreciate that about you. I sincerely do. The thing about it is, what is strange to me is that if I held any position at all on any topic and someone asked me to give the reason why I hold that position, and I couldn't just immediately respond and say, oh yeah, here's the reason I believe that, that would make me want to stop holding that position. Do you understand like where I'm coming from? Because like it seems like
that's what made me get away from religion. Because
sure, but it sounds like you still don't have a reason to think even that God exists without a religion.
Because I think we just exist. I don't think, like you said on the beginning, I think we always have been here as a people. I think the universe has always been here. I think we just exist.
Okay. Well, it doesn't sound
I
like
don't have any other logic to describe it.
Yeah, sure, no, and I think that the universe probably always existed. I don't think that in some sense at least, I don't think that humanity always existed. I think that we are a product of evolution. You know, and obviously the Earth didn't always exist, the sun didn't always exist, whatever. There are things that began, but I don't see any reason to think that a God was involved in any of it. And I certainly don't. If the universe didn't come into existence, then obviously there wasn't a God that brought it into existence. So is there any reason at all why we should believe in a God?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is a reason we should believe in a God?
It goes back to the energy, the manifestation of things, how we react. You know, you walk in a room like you know.
How does any of this give us a reason to believe in God, though? I don't see the connection at all.
But when you ask that question, it's like making it sound like he's an entity, like he's a person or something. When I'm saying that God is more of an energy, the yin and the yang.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it sounds more like you kind of have this conception of God being, you're maybe just like referring to some like natural force of some kind and just saying that that's what you call God.
Yes.
And that's fine. That just means that we're just not using the word God in the same way. So we're kind of talking past each other. Again, I appreciate you coming up. I do appreciate you coming up and you know, being kind and good faith and honest. But I am just looking to talk to people who believe in God the way that I'm using it, which I don't mean to say that you're wrong for using it the way that you do. It's just not exactly the same conversation. But I appreciate you.
When I came in, when I heard you talk last time, I kind of figured we was on the same mind track, but I had already requested. But I'm definitely following you.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, thank you for the conversation, and I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.
You too, sir.
Take care.
Have a good one. Yep.
Well, there's good people out there. At least we know that. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Maybe the third time's a charm is XRS. Hey, XRX actually came up. How old are you?
59. You can hear me okay, right?
I can. What God do you believe in?
I'm Catholic.
Cool. Typically, I think great, a Catholic. Usually that means a good combo, but the last one has me rethinking that. So
he crashed.
Not the last guest. Toucan was awesome. I meant the last Catholic.
I heard him. I heard that Catholic. He totally crashed.
Fair enough.
Than the guy before.
I know. He was talking shit about the guy before him, and then anyway. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in God?
So there's lots of reasons, but the one I want to talk about, multiple reasons for me, but the one I want to talk about is the law of existence. And the way I see it, the universe exists, can only come into existence in one of three ways. One is the uncreated creator. But I think for the atheists, they have two options, and that is space-time eternal or something came from nothing. And I think most people would agree something can't come from nothing, which leaves us with space-time eternal, which I propose is at actual infinity.
What do you mean by eternal?
Infinite. It's
okay. So you mean like,
beginning,
so you mean,
beginning.
So you mean that the only options available to the atheist are an infinite timeline without beginning or end, or something from nothing?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's just a gross misunderstanding of what the options available to atheists. That's just a complete misunderstanding of you know, the cosmological models on offer.
I think there's a lot of options, but I think they all collapse down to one of those. Those two.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You're wrong about. That's the thing that I'm saying is wrong, incorrect.
Okay, could you give me an example?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's a third option?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, we could believe in a temporally finite B theory universe, like an eternalist universe where the universe exists without beginning or end, but only has a certain number of temporal moments. So there could be a first temporal moment and a last temporal moment, but the whole universe exists as one big four-dimensional block. And the experience of the passage of time is just a subjective thing that is part of our experience because of the nature of the type of being that we are. But in objective reality, there is no such thing as the passage of time.
Yeah, so I would say that's a good idea, but I would say that that's incoherent.
Well, it's
You're
not
saying
incoherent.
something temporal.
No.
It either had a beginning. Well, the law of existence says something either had
What's the law of existence?
Or a beginning or it didn't.
What's the law of existence?
It either had a beginning.
Where
or
can
it
I
didn't.
where can I read about the
So
law of
you're-
existence?
Anywhere.
Yeah, where? What's the source where I can read about the law of existence?
I don't know. Just Google it. Law of
I did Google it, and it doesn't tell me anything. There's lawsofexistence.com. Is that what you're talking about?
I've never heard of that.
Okay, well, I've never heard of the law of existence, so I don't know what you're talking about. You told me to Google it, and that's what I found. So if that's not what you're talking
Well-
about, then I need you to tell me what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. The law
Yeah,
of
just give me a
existence, the way
source.
I-
Give me a source that I can read about the law of existence. Or is this a thing that you made up?
No, I've
Okay,
talked
so
to
then
a
name
lot
the
of other
source.
people talk about it.
So then name the source.
I don't have a source for you right this. I'm not here to argue about the law of existence.
Okay, then why do you keep bringing it
You
up?
said there's a third way. Well, it's just a talking point.
It's not a talking point.
But I think
It's
you're
not
saying-
a it's
I
not a
think you're
talking
saying
point.
that-
It's not a talking point if you can't actually tell me what it is and where I can read about it. What's the support that there is such a thing as a law of existence?
Well, I mean, I don't know where to tell you to find it. I've actually read about it online.
Yeah, where would I read
but
about it?
I'm
What's
not
the
able to-
source? As far as I can tell, this is
I
just
don't-
some bullshit that either you or somebody
I
else
don't know,
made up.
these
That
are
doesn't actually
things
mean
I-
anything.
Well, I mean, you want to focus on this. I'd rather talk about.
You're the
what
one
you
that brought
just
it
talked
up.
about.
You're the one that brought it up.
So, I mean, it kind of goes along the line as why does something exist as opposed to not existing, right?
Yeah, sure. Why does God exist as opposed to
Do
not
you-
existing?
Do you disagree?
So
that
why does God
everything
exist
you
instead
don't-
of not existing?
Do you have?
So
do you
why does
disagree that
God
everything-
exist instead of not existing?
So why does God? Because there would have to be an uncreated creator to create the universe.
So why does God exist instead of not existing? You didn't respond to the question.
I did. I just
No,
answered it.
no, you're saying, okay, well, then I can say, well, the universe can't have a beginning. It couldn't possibly not exist because it has to exist for us to exist. So
Well,
I can
that's
use your
exactly
exact
what-
same.
that's it. I
No,
was
no,
hoping you would
X-Rex,
bring that up.
X-Rex. No, stop.
I was hoping you would go there.
No, I don't want to
Let's
go
talk
there.
about it.
What I'm trying to do
Yeah,
is
of
show
course
you.
you don't want to go
Yeah,
there.
because I'm showing you
You'll
how
lose.
stupid the thing that you said is. If the thing that
No.
you said is a legitimate, if the thing you said is a legitimate argument, then you have no argument against the thing that I just
See,
said.
you wouldn't let anybody do that to you.
Do
If
what?
This is your life. You would. If somebody tried that on you, you wouldn't
Tried
let them
what?
get away with it.
Tried what?
What you just did.
Which is
flipping it.
what did I do?
You made a claim that there's more than two options for an atheist.
And I explained
And you
one of the
gave-
claims.
you gave- like okay.
I explained one of the other options. So what's your
Yeah,
response?
so
Okay, so if
has
you
that-
want
has
to,
that
so if
other
you
op-
want to
has
get,
that other option been proven?
it's an option on the table that is supported by our
Because the
best
evidence-
understanding of physics.
The evidence we have right now is the universe had a beginning.
No, we don't have any evidence the universe had a beginning, unless you can tell me what it is.
Scientists say.
Yeah, what's the
That's
evidence?
scientists. Well, everybody's been saying it. The Big Bang, the expansion.
So you just don't know anything about science. Here's the great thing. You are so lucky today, X-Rex. I'm going to educate you and you're going to learn something about the Big Bang. Earlier this year, a few months ago, a survey came out. It was the biggest survey ever done of physicists and cosmologists. About 1,700 of them responded to the question of, what should we believe about the Big Bang? What does science tell us the Big Bang means? And this scary green bar here, that's 68%, that's the majority of these physicists and cosmologists telling us that the Big Bang is a theory that says the universe evolves from a hot, dense state, that says nothing about whether there was an absolute beginning of time or not. So in fact, the current scientific understanding of the Big Bang is that it says nothing about whether the universe had a beginning. So you're just flat out wrong about your interpretation of the Big Bang. So what is the evidence that the universe has a beginning?
Well, it's funny because I can Google the Big Bang and it says space and time the universe began.
Yeah, and I just
13.8
showed you,
billion.
and I just
Oh,
showed
wait,
you
wait,
this is what
13.8,
scientists this is
yeah,
what
that's a
scientists say
that's
about
not,
what
that's
we should
not
understand.
science. That's a dude. That's a survey. That's not
A
science.
survey of who?
The current
A survey of
science
who?
says how old's the universe?
A survey of who?
How old's the universe?
Who's that a survey of?
How old's the universe?
I'm not going
Answer
to
the
let you
question.
pivot. I'm not letting you pivot.
I'm not- no,
your
you're the one
contention is
trying
it's
to pivot.
your contention.
No, you're trying to pivot. You're trying to pivot.
Your contention
Be
is that
honest.
that survey doesn't matter.
How old is the
Your
universe?
contention is that that survey doesn't matter because it isn't science. But in
Yeah,
fact,
no,
that is
that's-
the opinion of science on the Big Bang, what the Big Bang should tell us, what we should believe about the Big Bang. So
how
what
old
is
is
your
the
source? What is your source that would override that?
How old is the universe? Answer my question.
I'm not answering your derail question. What's your source that we should have a different understanding
so
of the Big Bang?
If you Google how old the universe is, it'll say
I just gave
13.8
you.
billion years old.
I know people
And
are
you're saying-
stupid.
and you're gonna tell
I
me
know
that that's
people are
not true.
stupid. Yes, I am telling you that's not true. 100%. So what's your evidence that this is
I
wrong?
think you, that you're just throwing something up on the screen. I haven't
What's your
had a
evidence
chance
that
to
it's wrong?
read or study it. No, that we're gonna go.
So
go
what's
with
your
science.
evidence? What's your evidence?
You atheists.
What's your
always try to
evidence?
You always try to pull some.
So what's the evidence?
Off the wall theory.
So what's
like
the evidence?
Like bounce theory.
So what's the evidence?
The evidence is the evidence is the current consensus.
I just
that
showed you
that
the consensus. I
no,
just
that's
showed
not.
you the
No,
consensus.
That's not consensus.
Okay, then
That's
give
not
me.
consensus.
Oh, how would we determine consensus?
I don't trust it.
How would we
I don't
determine
trust it.
consensus?
You're okay.
How would we determine
You
consensus?
won't answer the question.
How would we
How old
determine
is the
consensus?
universe?
How would we
So
determine
you don't
consensus?
you don't believe the Big Bang.
How
you
would
don't
we
believe the
okay?
expansion of the
How would
universe.
we determine consensus?
Hasn't the expansion been proven?
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I'm
Yes
going to
or
ask
no?
you this
Yes or
question
no,
one
sir?
more time, and if
Sir,
you don't want to
yes or
discuss the
no?
substance, I'm just going to move on. How would we
You're trying
determine
to
a
pivot on
scientific
me.
consensus?
You're trying to pivot on me.
Okay. Since you can't engage in substance, we go ahead and move on. When you become that unwilling to discuss the actual evidence, there's no point in continuing the conversation. Law of existence ran away from Big Bang survey. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. To answer the question on YouTube, I cannot take super chats. If you would like to send gifts on TikTok, you can do that. I also have, I guess it's on TikTok, but in my TikTok bio, I have links to my PayPal and Venmo. If you're so inclined, you can send support there, but certainly not something that I'm telling anyone to do or, you know, demanding or anything like that. If you want to support, fantastic. If not, no worries. To the people that are supporting, thank you. Thank you so much to, oh geez, where were we even at? Saw that one. Black and Yellow Diary, Pappy Loco, Tina Jones, Dill, 233. Thank you so much. Chevrolet, I don't know. Flores Yasakov, thank you so much for the support. Where is I at? Thank you, Liz. I appreciate you so much. Absurdism, thank you. Liz again. Decon Blue, thank you so much for the smoothies. Denise Ann, Poopman Jones, appreciate you. Molly Ringworm, thank you so much for the sunglasses. That's awesome. Claire, Eddie, Black and Yellow, thank you. Saintly, yours truly, thank you so much for that. Thank you, KTM. I appreciate you guys so much, sincerely. Thanks for being here. Probably just text prediction. You guys should follow him. He does streams too. Okay. Well, I already said I'm not bringing the child up, so I don't know why you're requesting. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. Yeah, thank you guys for the taps, tapping the screen, the likes, all the shares, the comments, and just being here watching. Appreciate you. Yes. Answering the question, answering someone's questions about whether they can send super chats is definitely me begging. Got it. All right. That's hilarious. Fair enough. Oh, well, apparently you don't want to talk. Did I take philosophy classes? No, I've just been reading philosophy books this year, and I actually start classes later this month. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and that you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Chill, how old are you? Hello.
Yo.
Can you do anything about the background noise?
Do you hear me?
Hello?
You hear me? Yeah, sure. Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you do something about the background noise, please?
Yeah, I'll turn it off right now.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 18, sir.
And what God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Okay, when do you hear this?
What you said?
I'm going to count to 3, and then I want you to say 4. 1, 2, 3.
Nah, gang.
Okay, yep, that was really long pause. So if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Oh, thank you so much, Paul. Appreciate that. I did the counting thing because I wanted to see how long the delay was. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's the child. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you. Hi,
Yo, it was good.
Hi, Smokey. How old are you?
18.
When were you born?
April 9, 2008.
Yeah, I don't believe you. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, Jess. How old are you? Hello. Fair enough. No, I don't want anyone to dox themselves. Please no. Do not do that. So I currently don't have anyone requesting. If you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence for God, I'd be happy to chat. How long ago did I start believing God is not real? Well, I stopped believing in Christianity at 15. I stopped believing in any gods probably by like 22 or 23. And then I would say that I probably didn't really take the positive position until like, I don't know, probably not until like a year or two ago. All right. Well, thanks for being here either way, Equinox. I appreciate you. All right. Well, we'll try with Smokey. He says he's an adult. We'll see how it goes. What God do you believe in?
I believe in the Catholic God, my bad.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
I would say it's physics.
How does
physics? Do you want me to explain?
How does physics give us a reason to believe in
God? Physics shows because, like, what's it called? Because you're a fat fuck, you know. So like some shit orbits around you, you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're like a world, right? You're like that fucking fat, you know.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So like your bald head ass can't fucking understand this shit because you're too fucking fat, you know.
Oh, okay, sure. Yep. And so how does that give us reason to believe in God? Oh. Well, there you go. All right. So if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God, feel free to come up. Oops. Probably do one of these. Oh, fair enough. All right. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate you immensely. Left-leaning infantry, appreciate the support. Thank you. Bertram, Nobody on Fire, yours truly, Nobody on Fire again. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, like I said, don't currently have anybody requesting. So if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God, please feel free to request. I'd be happy to have the conversation. Thanks, JC DeBateman, for the support. Okay.
Hey, why are you a fat loser?
Oh, just children again. Okay, cool. Well, in your worldview, I'm a fat loser because your God made me this way. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, so I don't know. It seems like after like an hour and a half, we just stopped getting guests, and nobody wants to actually discuss anything. Nobody wants to actually have the debate. So we'll go ahead and there we go. Yeah, I don't know, Mama Jen. It's really hard to find people who will actually have debates. And then people come up and they're like, oh, I can't believe that last guy. I'll be way better. And then they do the exact same shit. Thank you, Red Stick, for the support. Appreciate you. And if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Holy shit, y'all. We might get to 6,000 tonight. That would be awesome. Well, I'm not bringing children up, Mark. It's just not going to happen. In fact, I would, you know what? I don't know why I didn't do this before. Obviously, we don't need children in the live. I don't know why. I sincerely apologize for the lapse in judgment for not muting that person immediately. That's my bad. Thank you, Mike, for the heart me. Okay. So yeah, we'll try to bring up the next guest, see if we can have an actual debate. Jay, how old are you?
My bad for earlier, you fat fuck. I'm back.
Okay. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Thanks, Bradley Cooper. Appreciate you.
Hello, Mr. Ogre. How are you?
How old are you?
I am 20, June 15, 2006.
And what God do you believe in?
I believe in a Christian God.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in God?
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry, sir.
Yeah, what's the best argument or evidence that would give us a reason to believe in a God?
Okay. What I would say, like, for example, like the contingency argument, or, you know, I think the strongest argument, how do I say this? So if we look at, you know, the question, whether, you know, why does anything, you know, have existence at all? Like, if something doesn't possess existence through itself, then its existence, you know, has to be received or, you know, caused by something else. And if we're, you know, dealing with a hierarchical chain of things whose causal...
Why should I think that things that exist don't have existence in and of themselves and receive it from something else?
What did you say?
Why should I think that things that exist in reality, like myself or you or the table in front of me, why should I think that these things receive their existence from something else?
How do I say this? That is like a good objection, but if I, you know, simply said everything that exists needs, you know, something else to give it existence, you'd be completely justified in asking why. But, you know,
that's why I asked it. So instead of the rambling, I don't want you to hold on, Rio.
I was gonna go down.
Okay, so don't do that thing that you just did. Just give the actual answer. I only want the substance, not the preamble. Or were you just giving yourself time to look it up on ChatGPT? You need to be on the app. I can't hear you. And when you go, we know that you're asking AI for your argument. Or are you just trying to run away and you haven't hit the button to leave yet? What's happening, Rio? Well, this is fun. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah. Turns out the arguments fail pretty fast once you ask them to actually support their points. All right. So if you are 18 plus, believe in a God, and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God, feel free to request up. I'd be happy to have the conversation. I completely agree, Swag Skunk. The people that run the contingency argument tend to be very confused. But yeah, currently no requests at the moment, so I would be... yeah, unfortunately, Ashley, that doesn't work well for them when you knock them off their script. But yeah, just looking for somebody who actually wants to have the debate. I would be happy to discuss the topic. I was actually going to run my argument from contingency that God doesn't exist, because my favorite argument to debate lately. I don't know about favorite argument. There's an argument that I really want to make work, and I think that like the problem might be that I'm presenting it like in the wrong order. But I have this argument from causation that I really like. I just need to find the right way to present it. Because right now, the way that I'm presenting it, I feel like people are, by the time I'm getting to the stuff that I know that they would agree to in a normal situation, they already know where it's going, and so then they refuse to agree. So I need to restructure the argument so that I'm getting to them to agree to the stuff they actually believe before they realize how it's going to lead to the disconfirmation of their view. So that's just kind of like a rhetoric issue, I think. But that's always been my weak point, right? I'm not a rhetorician. What's my DNA? I mean, I'm going to assume that it's like anybody else's DNA. But yeah, if you are 18 plus, believe in a God, and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for such a belief, feel free to request. I would be happy to have the debate. Wow, that's a good guess, Vitruvian. You're actually right. My DNA is human. There were a lot of options that you could have taken there, and you nailed it. Ethnicity, I'm like a 5th generation German American. I mean, kind of Scandinavian, mostly like northern Germany and Norway and Denmark is where my lineage traces to the best of my knowledge. I've never done like a 23andMe or anything like that. Okay, so if you are, I don't claim to be Viking. I know people have said that, but I do not claim to be a Viking. I did not go to college. I'm about to start college. I don't have the belief that someone can convince me God exists, but I also don't have the firm position that no one can convince me. I think it's unlikely anyone will convince me, but, you know, that would have to actually happen. But I'm not really looking to just talk with the comments. If you want to actually come up and debate, feel free to request. I would be happy to have the conversation. I'm going to do... yeah, just looking for folks who are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. I don't know about needing college, but I want to learn more, and that would be a good way to learn more, right? Obviously, going through the process of getting a philosophy degree would mean that I would come out the other side with more understanding of philosophy, and that's the goal. But yeah, I don't know. Do I like... All right. Doctor. Yeah, I don't know about that. Unlikely that I'll ever get a PhD. Yeah, philosophy's awesome. Yes, I will start. I'm about to start. I don't know about freshmen. I don't know if how that would work. I'm going to be going part-time online, taking as many classes as I can while still working a full-time job and doing streaming when I'm able. Oh, I didn't even think about that, Autismal Equinox. I mean, it is kind of weird to be asked my ethnicity. Yeah. I don't know why it could possibly matter. What do I do for work? I work in the financial industry. And what am I studying? Philosophy. How do I juggle a full-time job? I don't know. I work like banker's hours since I work in the financial industry, right? Like a 8 to 5, 9 to 5 kind of thing. But yeah, nobody's requesting, nobody's coming up. Philosophy degrees get you jobs. Yeah, some people get jobs with philosophy degrees, but I'm not looking to get a degree to get a job. I already have a career. I don't need a job. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, I could reset or I could just call it for the night, I guess. Hey, thanks, Ace. I mean, we'll try to have one more conversation. If you're in the guest queue, make sure you're an adult and have an argument or evidence for God. I would prefer not, Brian. I would prefer not. Hi, Mark. How old are you?
Hello, sir. I'm doing good.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 20, sir.
You said 20?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
I believe in the Christian God.
And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
The fine-tuning argument.
Okay. How does that give us evidence for God?
Well, it posits that the universe is fixed and it's organized for life to be fit as it is.
I'm familiar with the argument. I'm asking, what is your contention that fine-tuning provides evidence for God?
So I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound way too mystical for some people, but think of it as your consciousness and the way our mind grasps reality. This provides us an explanation.
I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything of any substance, Mark. Why should I think that the appearance of fine-tuning is evidence for God? What you probably want to say here is something along the lines of, well, the appearance of fine-tuning is really unlikely if there isn't a God, but it's very expected if there is a God. Therefore, we should think that there is a God based on the appearance of fine-tuning. You probably want to say something like that, but I don't want to give your argument for you.
Well, it's the universe seems to be so fixed for life to be apparent, and life does not come from non-life.
Well,
is really my contention.
Well, okay. Well, neither of us believes that. We both think that life comes from non-life, because you would never be able to give a definition of life that applies to God, all other living things, and no non-living things. And since you can't do that, we can't actually in any meaningful way say that God is alive, and you think that life came from God. So obviously you think life came from non-life, and I also think life came from non-life. We just have a different non-living source that we can't think life came from. But I don't want to get bogged down in that. Let's imagine that, whatever, like you're saying that the universe is perfectly fine-tuned for life. Why is the appearance of fine-tuning evidence for God?
because there is contention in the argument.
I don't know what that means.
The contention is that life was the end goal. I mean,
okay, so you're saying that because life is the end goal, the fine-tuning of the universe to produce life is evidence of a God that had that goal?
yes.
Okay, what's the evidence that there's a God that had that goal? Because it sounds like you would need to establish that in order for fine-tuning to mean anything.
What would you conceive of as evidence for an immaterial mind behind the universe?
I can't imagine that there could be evidence for such a thing. That's why I think it's insane to believe it. Well, maybe insane is a strong word, but I guess I said it. So I have no idea. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I think it's completely irrational to believe in such a thing. That's why I'm doing these debates. And that's why it's so easy to do these debates, because I know that I'm only ever going to talk to irrational, unreasonable people. No one who's a reasonable person and actually has good support for their beliefs would believe in a God. Therefore, I'm never going to have to debate against somebody who actually has support for their position. This is just like an easy slam dunk debate every time, because no one has evidence for a God. Regardless, you're the one that thinks that you do have evidence for a God, and I would be happy to be proven wrong. So what is the actual evidence for God? We started out with fine-tuning, but now you're saying that fine-tuning is only evidence if we already established the existence of a God that intended to bring about human life, so you would need to establish that before fine-tuning could be evidence.
Honestly, you got me there. I can't I mean, I would say, okay, you're like the critical analysis guy. Like, I can't really pinpoint all of these exact answers for you. Obviously, I think you're quite of a skeptic. You remind me of Matt Dillahunty. Honestly, I'm gonna just be straightforward. But I don't know if you know him. I don't know if you're a fan of him. But you seem like identical towards him.
Well, I don't think I'm identical to Dillahunty, but I mean, he's definitely somebody whose debates I've watched. Probably more so 10 years ago than I would now. But I just don't see any reason to believe in a God. Like, typically the way the fine-tuning argument is going to be presented is something along the lines of, like I said before, that typically it's going to be wanting to say that if God exists, it's very likely that the constants would be set to allow for life. If God doesn't exist, it's extremely unlikely that the constants would be set such that it allows for life. Therefore, since the constants allow for life, there's probably a God. That's typically the way that the fine-tuning argument goes. And then my question to that is just going to be, how do we determine that the constants being set the way they are is unlikely under naturalism? But no one has an answer for that.
Unlikely under naturalism. So what is naturalism?
The idea that there is no God or supernatural anything, and that all that exists are, natural things, natural processes.
So why is it that when we look at this fine-tuning model, is that all of the conditions for life are literally perfectly tuned? And if it was,
well, how do you know that it could have,
the universe would collapse?
How did you confirm that it could have been any other way? Because if this is the only possible way the constants could be, then we shouldn't be surprised that they're this way. It's the only way they could be. So in order for us to be surprised that they're this way, we have to confirm that they could have been different, and that it was more likely that they would have been different. So how do you determine that the constants could have been different, and that it's unlikely they would be this way?
I mean, I think your second objection is just unnecessary. I mean, how do you determine how it's unlikely? What do you mean? I'm saying that it's likely that there is a creator behind the universe because the fine-tuning argument implies that.
Right,
because
but the
of the
reason that the
conditions.
fine-tuning argument gives that we should think that it's likely there's a God is that the constants were unlikely to be such that life could exist unless there was a God. But that's what I'm calling into question. The central claim is because the constants are extremely unlikely to be this way, if there is no God, it's likely there's a God because the constants are this way. But I'm calling into question the contention or the assertion that it's unlikely for the constants to be this way if there isn't a God. How do you demonstrate that claim?
Let's look at the notion of what I mean by like the conditions are so like on this rigid baseline, and it's like,
how do you
like
know that they
cutting
could have
towards
been
the edge.
different?
How do I know it could have been different?
Yeah. How did you determine that
Because
that the physical constants could have been different?
I'm not implying that there is anything that's different. I'm implying that the universe would collapse if these conditions were set on some other, pedestal.
Yeah, and how could they have been set on a different pedestal? How do you know they could have been set on a different pedestal?
Honestly, I don't know, and I think that
that's the problem with your argument, Mark. That's the problem with your argument. You're claiming that we should believe in a God because it's really unlikely that the constants would be this way if there wasn't a God. But in order for that to have any force, you would have to demonstrate that it's unlikely the constants would be this way without a God. Otherwise, you have nothing.
Damn. And it's just pure speculation from there. Honestly, you got me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and what I want you to know is that this isn't just you. This isn't like some failing of yours, like personally. This is a failing of the argument in general. There was a recent debate where there were literal PhD philosophers, one of which is, or like a couple of which are like philosophers of science who study physics and shit. And they were having a debate about fine tuning, and this is exactly where that one went as well, because even the PhDs who argue this, who give this argument, can't give justification why we should think that the constants could have been different, because we have no confirmation they could have been different. That's why this is a really bad argument. I know a lot of people say that this is a good argument for God, but I don't understand that. I think it's a really bad one. Do you have anything else?
What resources should I look at to the fine-tuning argument in contention and like all of its tension necessary?
Damn, that's a really good question. If you were asking about the Kalam, I would know exactly what to tell you. For fine-tuning, I don't know. Oh my God. What the fuck is his name? Is it Mitchell Donahue? Somebody correct me. Is that his name? Oh, I'm gonna feel so fucking stupid if that's not his name. What is his goddamn name? No, I gotta go to YouTube and look him up. This is gonna bug me. He's a PhD philosophy student. And he has a great YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find it. If I got his name wrong, Miles. Oh my God, his name is Miles, not Mitchell. I'm a fucking moron. So Miles Donahue is a theist. I'm telling you Miles Donahue because he believes in God. I'm not just trying to tell you like, oh, go listen to this atheist so that you can believe what I believe. That's not my intention. So Miles Donahue has done a bunch of debates on this. And he did, my personal favorite current living philosopher is Alex Malpass. I just absolutely love his approach. And Miles Donahue and Alex Malpass did a debate. The video looks like it was posted 4 months ago. They did a debate on fine tuning. And then I think right before that, actually, there was a debate with 4 philosophers. It was Miles Donahue and not Amos, Noah McKay. So Miles Donahue and Noah McKay on the theistic side arguing fine-tuning against what's his name, Noah Bray, or not Noah Bray, Nicholas Bray maybe, and Alex Malpass. Anyway, it's also on Miles Donahue's channel. There were a couple debates that they posted 4 months ago about fine-tuning. I think that those are great debates. I think that you see some the best versions of the fine-tuning argument from the theists, and there are some novel responses from the atheists. So I think that those are really, really good debates in my opinion. Oh, and Mark is gone. But yeah, if you're a theist and you want to get better at that argument, those are the people that I would look to. I think Miles Donahue is a great example of how to support that argument as a theist. Okay. All right. So I am actually going to go ahead and call the stream for the evening. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I should probably run through real quick. Thank you, Baby Boop Bop, Isser Lee, Lem, QAn, Mike, Redstick, everybody who supported. I appreciate you all so much. As I always say at the end of my streams, I just want to give a reminder that tomorrow is not guaranteed. So you don't know how many more opportunities you're going to have to let your family and friends know how much they mean to you.